pouvoir aider. On reconnaît qu'il y a des besoins au Québec et à travers le pays. C'est pour ça qu'on travaille avec les provinces pour leur fournir, si c'est possible, des ressources.
Retournez!
On est là pour poursuivre ces discussions et amener de l'aide dans le plus court terme si c'est possible et si c'est nécessaire.
Merci pour cette question.
Thank you. Merci. Question Mélanie Marquis, la presse.
Oui, bonjour, M. Trudeau. J'aimerais que vous me disiez ce que vous pensez de la décision des États-Unis de geler le financement à l'Organisation mondiale de la santé.
La priorité du gouvernement maintenant, c'est de faire tout ce qu'on peut pour protéger les Canadiens, pour assurer la santé et la sécurité des gens à travers le pays. Et ça implique travailler avec les experts ici au Canada et à travers le monde. Et on va continuer de faire ce travail important pour les Canadiens. One of the things that national experts to do everything we can to fight this virus and keep Canadians safe and protected. That's what we will continue to do.
Je veux bien, craignez-vous que ça ait des conséquences, M. Trudeau, sur la lutte globale à la pandémie de la COVID-19?
Je vais avoir la chance demain de discuter avec les autres chefs du G7 pour parler justement de comment on va s'assurer de bien coordonner et de continuer de travailler de tous nos efforts pour contrer la COVID-19 et pour coordonner notre approche ancrée dans la science et travaillant avec les experts à travers le monde.
Thank you. Merci. The next question, Justin Ring, freelance. Please go ahead.
Hi there, Prime Minister. Obviously, I've been asking you for about a month now about the state of Canada's prisons. You promised repeatedly that new measures would be coming, that the Minister of Public Safety would be announcing new cooperation with the Parole Board. We still haven't seen any of that. So is this just not a priority? Is nothing coming? Is there even going to be a decision about those inmates who are being released on day passes, like other provinces have done, to release them temporarily? Is there any announcement coming?
We have made significant efforts and taken significant steps to ensure that our incarcerated population is kept as safe as possible from COVID-19. There are a number of measures that we've taken. We continue to look at more measures. We're coordinating with the provinces on these efforts as well. We know that this is an area where we've seen challenges in terms of outbreaks, but we also are continuing to step up our efforts every day to ensure that all Canadians are protected.
So you said in your efforts, the directive from the Commissioner last week said that the corrections officers should wear face masks. The Corrections Canada has previously said they're providing soap and hand sanitizer. By all accounts, those things aren't happening. So if the work you're doing isn't happening, do you need to change tack? And finally, have you totally abandoned the idea of releasing federal inmates?
There have been a number of discussions at the highest levels about various processes that need to be put in place. There have been a reduction in transfers, in issues that have put potentially people who work there and people who are incarcerated there more at risk. We have taken a number of measures. We will continue to look at taking more measures, and we will ensure that the measures in place are properly followed. Nous reconnaissons à quel point c'est important d'assurer que nous protégeons ceux qui travaillent, ceux qui sont incarcérés dans nos institutions fédérales. C'est pour ça qu'on a mis en place des mesures spécifiques. Nous allons continuer de veiller à ce que ces mesures soient suivies et nous allons toujours chercher des nouvelles façons d'assurer la protection de ces gens.
Merci. On va faire people's security.
Thank you. Merci. Next question, Jim Bronskill, Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Social distancing advice differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. From Vancouver closing Stanley Park to cars, so more people can walk around it, to Ottawa's local experts telling people to basically not chat on their driveway with neighbors. In light of this, how do you sustain public confidence in social distancing measures?
I think we've been very, very clear that the best way to prevent further spread of COVID-19 is to stay home as much as possible. If you have to go out infrequently and keep 2 meters distance from each other and wash your hands aggressively and often. These are the things that we're asking all Canadians to do. Across the country, we recognize that different communities are in different situations, that there are different local health experts giving advice that is suitable to that particular context. We make sure that everyone is getting the message that we all have to do our part to fight COVID-19, and that means engaging in social distancing, but it is perfectly normal that there be slight variances in approaches in a pandemic that is manifesting itself in very different ways in different parts of the country. Okay. Nous soulignons à quel point c'est important de prendre des actions pour se protéger, pour empêcher que la COVID-19 se répande encore plus. C'est-à-dire de rester chez nous le plus possible, de ne pas sortir à moins qu'on en ait absolument besoin, et à ce moment-là, garder 2 mètres de distance avec les autres et de se laver les mains de façon régulière et agressive. Évidemment, dans différentes régions du pays, il y a différentes situations par rapport à la pandémie. Alors, il y a des petites variations dans les recommandations des experts locaux, mais la grande recommandation reste de faire tout ce qu'on peut pour garder la distanciation sociale et pour freiner l'expansion de la COVID-19.
And also the spread of COVID-19.
On the World Health Organization, how much total financial support is Canada now providing to the organization? And has the U.S. President ever put any pressure on Canada to either boost or of late reduce its support for the organization?
Canada's support for the World Health Organization is in the tens of millions of dollars. I think we've increased it recently, but I can make sure that someone has the exact numbers for you or for the media. No, the President hasn't made any direct asks or indirect asks of Canada around that. Je crois qu'on appuie l'Organisme de santé mondial dans les dizaines de millions de dollars par année. Je sais qu'on a augmenté récemment nos contributions par rapport à cette pandémie, mais je veux m'assurer que vous aviez une réponse plus précise dans les heures à venir. Et non, le président n'a pas demandé au Canada de faire quoi que ce soit par rapport à la santé de l'OMS. Merci.
Glenn McGregor, CTV News. Prime Minister, you've repeatedly said how much Canada has relied on WHO for information about what's happening around the world. Are you satisfied the organization sufficiently interrogated the information coming out of China in the early days of the pandemic? We know now a lot of the information was either false or misleading, especially about human-to-human transmission. Do you think they did a good job on how they handled that information and shared it with other countries?
What we need to remember is the path through this pandemic is for us to base ourselves on science, on the recommendations of experts, on the data and the knowledge that we've gathered from past pandemics and past health issues to apply to these situations. And that's why we will always continue to work with experts, both domestically and internationally, to take the best advice possible in keeping Canadians safe. Of course, in the coming months and years, there will be many reflections on various institutions and systems, both domestically and internationally, on how we can improve our response, how we can learn from things we could have done better in this process. These are things that will come in the coming times. Right now, our focus needs to be on doing the best we can right now to protect Canadians.
We're hearing about potential shortages of medication used for pain-killing and sedation before patients are intubated and put on ventilators. What's happening at the federal level to ensure that there's a continued supply of those medications?
Public Health Canada and Procurement Canada are working together to ensure the steady supply of essential medications to Canada, both related to COVID-19 and not. We recognize that this is a global health crisis, so there are challenges, but Canada has a very strong pharmaceutical industry.
Germany, Israel, check out what we got in Canada. Oh, this one I took some off already. Well, you can see that's the right shape and everything.
To ensure that Canadians get what they need. Nous avons nos équipes et nos ministères en train de travailler avec les provinces, avec les partenaires à travers le monde pour s'assurer de la disponibilité des médicaments et des denrées essentielles. Nous allons toujours faire ce qu'on a besoin de faire pour assurer que les Canadiens aient les produits nécessaires. On reconnaît qu'on est dans une crise de santé mondiale, mais le Canada devrait toujours avoir l'équipement nécessaire pour aider les Canadiens.
Tom Barrett with CBC News. On the WHO, you were just asked this, but the Conservatives and others have raised concerns that the WHO was too willing to take the word of the Chinese regime early on in the pandemic. Do you share those concerns?
I think there's obviously reflections that we have to have going forward. We have to make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep Canadians safe. And that is our focus right now. What can we do now? What do we need to do in the coming weeks? How do we lean on experts in international institutions and in partner countries around the world for making recommendations alongside our domestic experts on what we need to do now? There will be plenty of time as we move forward to reflect on challenges that were faced in the past. We need to learn and move forward as quickly as we can.
You said yesterday that you're talking to the provinces and territories about eventually reopening the economy. Can you say what work specifically you're doing with the provinces and territories to do this? And you also said that there are different points along the spectrum of the pandemic. So do you see when things do start returning to normal, is that going to be on a provincial level, a local level, a national level? How's it going to work?
Well, we recognize that this pandemic is going through very different phases at different points at different places across the country. One size fits all will not work for a country as diverse as Canada, but the overarching principles are extremely important. We know
Mr. Drama Teacher
in the country, we need to get through this first wave before we can start releasing social distancing and staying at home. How that release works will vary from region to region, from industry to industry, and coordination at the federal level on how we do that is going to be very important. But with spring coming, people are looking outside, wanting to get out, wanting this to be over. I understand that. It will be weeks more before we can seriously consider loosening the restrictions. It would be terrible if we were to release restrictions too early and find out we're suddenly back in another big wave.
You won't beat it that time. You will not get ahead of it the second time.
We've gone through up to now would have been for nothing because we're finding ourselves once again in the same situation. If we hold on through this period now, as long as we have to, once we are able to release things, we will be able to better control how things move forward. But as impatient as people are getting all across the country, we need to continue to hold on if what we're doing now as sacrifices are going to be worth it. Okay. Je reconnais à quel point les gens veulent savoir quand on va en finir, quand on va pouvoir resserrer les règles pour la distanciation sociale et comment recommencer, repartir notre économie. La réalité, c'est que si on commence à relâcher trop lentement, trop rapidement, on peut facilement se trouver dans une situation pareille que maintenant ou encore pire avec une autre vague qui arrive presque immédiatement. Et dans ce cas-là, tout ce qu'on est en train de faire maintenant aurait été pour rien. Les gens sont en train de prendre des sacrifices maintenant, prendre des moments extrêmement difficiles. Il va falloir qu'on continue à le faire pendant encore bien des semaines pour pouvoir est prêt à bien gérer de façon vigilante et attentive une sortie graduelle. Oui, il va falloir coordonner avec les provinces, mais surtout, il va falloir qu'on reste dans cette phase-ci pour encore un bout de temps, pour s'assurer que quand on pourra relâcher, on ne se retrouvera pas dans la même situation quelques mois plus tard.
Prime Minister Janet Silver, Global News. I know you've just spoken about a coordinated effort and some more patience needed in terms of reopening the economy. But just to follow up on that, I'm wondering whether you envision when that happens that workers will be tested before they return to work.
They are all going to pass a multiple choice skill testing question.
The controls on social distancing and start to reopen our economy. Massive, rapid testing on a very wide scale basis will be an essential part of the vigilance we have to have. There will also be a need for very aggressive contact tracing whenever there is a case that appears.
How'd you get caught, dog? Contact trace my ass, dog.
To any future outbreaks in future
Got an FRO. Oh, the FRO is going to get some money out of this. Watch.
We need to continue doing what we are doing now for many more weeks.
You say you're not the father, you never had sex with that woman, but your COVID ID is a match.
To loosen all these controls, everything we're doing now might have been for nothing. We'll find ourselves
Let's try
in
this.
another peak just as bad as this one, or worse, and it will be extremely damaging both to how Canadians feel, but also to our economy. That's why we are going to be extremely careful about any steps towards reopening the economy. It seems like over the past days, people are talking, oh, we'll reopen this, we'll do this, we'll reopen that. It's not happening yet. If we reopen too soon, everything we're doing now might be for nothing. We're making sacrifices. We're there for each other. We need to hold on still. And then, once we're ready, once we feel we're through, once the experts are telling us that we can talk about reopening the economy a little bit, we will take very careful steps and do that. Okay. Je reconnais que depuis plusieurs jours, plein de gens sont en train de parler de la ouverture de l'économie, de la reprise de nos travaux, de pouvoir sortir de chez eux. Je sais que c'est excitant. Avec le printemps, les gens ont vraiment hâte à ça. Et je dois vous dire, on n'est pas rendu là, on est loin de là encore. Si on rouvre trop rapidement, on pourrait facilement se retrouver dans une situation pire que ce qu'on est maintenant. Et tout ce qu'on a fait depuis plusieurs semaines aurait été pour rien et tout sera à recommencer. On ne veut pas vivre ça. Donc soyez patients, continuez cette
Nous sommes avec toi, monsieur. Où est François Philippe Chapin, monsieur? Je veux parler avec il. Je veux parler avec il de toi.
Protéger nos aînés. On va passer à travers. Il faut continuer de tenir bon.
Prime Minister, as we see the horrific stories unfold each day across the country with regards to long-term care facilities, people getting sick, people being abandoned, many dying, if your mom was in one of these facilities, what would you do?
I can't imagine what so many Canadians are going through right now with loved ones who are suffering, people they can't even visit right now, seniors worried about falling ill and not being able to see their kids and grandkids again. These are the things that we need to focus on as a country. That is what I will be speaking with premiers about tomorrow night, how the federal government can support the premiers in their responsibility in their jurisdiction over long-term care facilities and senior care, to make sure that we are supporting the heroes who are working in extraordinarily difficult situations for very low pay, to continue that work safely and mostly to keep our elders safe. This is a situation where, as a society, as a country, we need to pull together to be there for our elders, who built this country, that's what we're going to focus on in the coming days. En français. Nous reconnaissons à quel point c'est essentiel d'être là pour nos aînés, d'être là pour ceux qui travaillent à des salaires extrêmement modestes pour aider nos aînés. Nous devons continuer d'être là pour eux. C'est ce sur quoi je vais m'attarder avec les premiers ministres pour voir comment on peut appuyer ceux qui travaillent avec nos aînés, mais aussi appuyer nos aînés à assurer qu'on les garde en santé, en sécurité. Ils sont en train de vivre des moments extrêmement difficiles d'anxiété, de peur et d'incertitude s'ils vont pouvoir revoir leurs enfants, leurs petits-enfants. C'est un moment extrêmement difficile et en tant que société, nous devons de faire mieux pour eux.
Bonjour, Philippe Vincent, président de Radio-Canada. Sur les CHSLD, sur les centres d'hébergement à longue durée, l'armée peut possiblement intervenir. Est-ce que concrètement, vous voulez les envoyer simplement le personnel médical ou vous pensez à envoyer d'autres corps de l'armée, d'autres personnes à l'intérieur des Forces armées canadiennes pour faire d'autres métiers, pour prêter main forte justement à ce personnel qui est débordé et sous-payé?
On est en train de discuter avec Québec et les autres provinces pour voir comment on peut envoyer plus de ressources. On a eu, comme j'ai dit, 2 demandes spécifiques du Québec pour envoyer l'armée au Nunavut et à la Basse-Côte-Nord. Nous allons continuer de travailler avec la province. Nous allons répondre à toutes sortes à toute demande qu'ils vont nous faire sur quoi que ce soit. On est là pour aider, pour travailler avec les provinces comme ils le voient nécessaire. There have been 2 requests so far by Quebec to send in support from the Canadian Armed Forces in both Nunavut and Northern Quebec.
Allons-y maintenant.
These are things that we are doing.
Vous êtes ici pour l'assistance.
Pour l'assistance. To support Quebec or other provinces who are asking for help from the federal government, regardless of what that looks like and what they're asking us. We will be there to help out as provinces need help.
Sur la pandémie comme telle, vous dites qu'il faut continuer.
I know, you're thinking, why break up the big one? Because I need the little nickel $2 bucks. That's why. That's a $2 bug.
Le vaccin n'est pas encore développé pendant encore pour
$1 bug.
Est-ce qu'il y a des scénarios qui sont évalués par votre gouvernement sur une certaine immunisation collective, là, reprendre certains secteurs pour que cette immunisation-là puisse voir le jour et protéger certaines personnes comme d'autres pays le font?
Le grand danger, c'est de voir notre système de santé débordé. Et on pourrait passer d'un taux de mortalité de 2 ou 3% à des 10-15% qu'on a vu dans d'autres pays. Et c'est ça qu'on veut absolument éviter. Alors effectivement, on est en train de ralentir la propagation de la COVID-19 et on est aussi en train de développer des méthodes et des capacités techniques par des tests de dépistage.
Où est COVID? J'ai besoin de la COVID. J'avais de la monnaie pour acheter la COVID. Où est le COVID magasin? Où est le magasin de COVID? Oui. Bien sûr.
On est en train de développer les outils pour pouvoir être assez vigilant une fois qu'on aurait passé à travers cette première vague de la COVID-19 pour desserrer un petit peu les contrôles sur l'économie et sur les citoyens. Mais nous reconnaissons que tant qu'il n'y aura pas de vaccin, on va devoir continuer d'être extrêmement vigilant, de réagir extrêmement
vigilant. Nous sommes les vigilants des
de la COVID-19. Et c'est toutes ces réflexions-là que nous sommes en train d'entamer. Mais comme je l'ai dit, il va falloir qu'on reste dans cette phase-ci de restriction assez sévère pour pouvoir gagner le temps, gagner la capacité et voir cette première vague ralentir assez pour regarder les prochaines étapes. We know that until there is a vaccine for COVID-19, we're going to have to remain extremely vigilant as a world, as a country, to resurgences, even once this first wave is through. Once we see this first wave pass through Canada without having overwhelmed our healthcare system and our healthcare workers, as we certainly hope. We will be able to look very carefully at how, with extraordinary vigilance and very rapid response times to any future resurgences of the virus, we can carefully re-engage in certain sectors of our economy in loosening up the restrictions. But we are not there yet. We have to be through this first wave sufficiently to be able to know that we have the capacity to step
First
out
wave.
and restrict any
Remember the
future outbreaks as they come along. That means technology, that means better testing capacities, that means continued vigilance, not just by government,
vigilance,
but by all
common
Canadians,
sense.
to preventing it. We're still a number of weeks away from that, but we are reflecting on what that looks like and what sort of technology and medical solutions will be necessary. We will get through this together, but for now, we need to stay strong in our social distancing measures and by staying at home. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
And you were just hearing from the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, says more help is on the way for essential workers, especially those in long-term care homes. Anyone deemed essential.
Look up for the niggas in the orange jumpsuits. They come through before the niggas in the bug suits to get you, lock you up and segregate your ass. Isolation. You're not gonna pass. Get away from the rest of the class.
Canceled on them or saw their employment insurance run out since January the 1st. Can now apply.
Just imagine if your EI just ran out and you tried to get a job, you got your first paycheck, and you don't qualify for the emergency benefit. You just paid your rent when they come out with, oh, you don't have to pay your rent shit. You have no money. You're the most stable person in the community, but you got no money.
Co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. In support of public health efforts, we have put a pause on elective.
All right, so we have discovered. See, this is why I play with everything. Okay, so what's this? That's my name. That's the name of the company that owns the building. This is the bank where they do their business, apparently. So I'm trying to take a picture of this check to deposit. And the problem I came across is not the fucking application or the bank or anything else. You may have noticed. You may not have noticed because I stopped using this camera. This camera, if I'm taking your picture, don't focus no more. It zooms in, focuses in and out. I don't know what it looks like. You're looking through a water, like a bubble wall. And that's the camera the app wants to use by default. Now, I can take a picture of the check, which is what I want with this phone, but I cannot deposit it over the website. And I don't have the app on this phone because for some reason the app needs Android 6. Why? What's the difference? Is your app secure or not? So now I have to walk all the way to the bank machine and deposit and withdraw my money. I'm so hard done by it. Oh, where'd the money come from? I've been in this place 8 years plus. 8 years and change, a couple weeks. 8 years. I never got an interest payment off my last month's rent deposit yet. I've never gotten the last month's rent deposit interest anywhere. So I keep bugging them the last, I don't know, 10 or 11 months. And every time they mouth off at me and get rude, I call them racist. And the next day, every day, you got my money yet? No. And then I leave. And I keep going in the office, even though I'm not supposed to. And here's the fucking signature of the mafioso dude. I got his autograph. I got him sending me a check, eh? Oh, and earlier, when I did this, I heard the other one say, oh, what's your apartment number? But I just kept walking because either they know who I am or they don't. You don't need to look up my apartment number. Look up all the people you owe money to. Send them the money, and my apartment number will be in that list. Okay. I come up, get my bank card, go back downstairs to get a coffee. And the security guard has a check for me when I come back. Hey, come here. And he says, oh, $2 for me for the service for delivery. I got $62.64. I just emptied my bank account to get this coffee. Now I got $62. I'm not doing bad, okay? Why? Because I've been bugging their asses for 8 fucking years. All right, here's the catch. If your rent goes up more than... They're allowed to take the interest money, apply it to your last month so it matches the current rent. So somewhere in the last few years, I thought that my rent increased more than this. They've been arguing with me and ODSP for 2 years because for some reason every year my worker doesn't update the rent on time. It's like $12 or some bullshit. The problem is, once that month is passed, it's no longer part of my current rent. They can't just, I think they can't just authorize the money. They can, but they don't just authorize the money. I have to apply for community startup to pay off arrears, rental arrears. For $12 fucking dollars, I'm going to apply for government assistance for arrears. And you've seen, if you've watched the videos, me calling the damn office, the worker, over and over and over for a year and a half. They don't respond to me. So how can I get them the money? I'm going to write them a check out of my personal needs money and then wait to get the money back from. No. Because when the rent went up, they should have. There's too many formulas. I'm going to leave it because it's $12 fucking dollars or whatever. I guess it's more than that. It's less than $50. It's like $36 or some bullshit. I want them to try and evict me for $36, and then I'll apply to ODSP for the arrears. And right now they can't do it. And I think they figured out, because they're mafioso and they're good with money, it's cheaper to give me my $60 fucking dollars than to go through all the hell. Remember, the rent's over $600. This is $62. So 10 of these in a month. They're just giving me back one. 120 of these in a year. They're only giving me back one. They're smart. They're very smart. Because I don't give a fuck about Italiano versus Colombian versus Congolese versus nothing. I'll call all y'all. This is my land, nigga. I heard a nasty rumor that Italians don't like blacks. I heard that nasty rumor. Now, I never saw it in real life myself growing up in Canada. I heard a nasty rumor. I'm black, nigga. You don't like us? You didn't know I was black, did you? Monsieur, je suis nègre. Parle-moi nègre.
Some small business owners say they're terrified of possibly being evicted by tomorrow for not being able to pay April's rent. They're calling on the province to step up with several measures to help them out.
You want to solve that? There's a couple ways. I'll tell you what, if they lock you out, burn the damn place down.
And new numbers from the province.
You're all getting evicted on the 15th, right? It all happens on the 15th?
Another daily high in deaths at 51.
What do you think is going to happen when they get 2 dozen fucking fire calls at the same fucking time on the 16th? They're all going to burn down.
Dominican Republic mourns the loss of a former Blue Jays sports at 15.
The Bank of Canada steps up support for the
you're going to squeeze the local businesses because you're the landowner. You take that business away that I need, you will not be welcome on this land. I don't care what piece of paper you got. Oh, piece of paper.
TSX off by more than 300. Business.
I got somebody's fucking birth certificate here.
Good afternoon, Carrie Prunskis.
Good afternoon. This
Michael Hart. Really? Like Bret Hart? Michael Hart? No, you're joking,
Volume is
right?
light on the major routes across the GTA, but a good chance you'll come across some construction. We do have a lot of it on the go right now. Some of the bigger closures include some ramps. If you're looking to take a westbound 401, no access to that route from southbound Kennedy. That ramp to the west 401 is shut down for long-term construction. No word yet how long-term.
Put it in a Ziploc bag.
That's going to be the case for at least a little while. And westbound
to hang on the
401 from Kennedy to
plexiglass.
Warden and the collectors are working on some lane realignment through there. They're widening those collector lanes. That's why they had to close down that ramp. Westbound 407, the southbound Bronte ramp to the westbound 407.
I'm a busy motherfucker. I didn't even get my joint lit yet.
Eastbound on the 401,
I could be wrong. I think that's my first one since waking up.
The right lane is closed. If you're
first one of the day since waking up. I'll sleep on regular schedule.
The right lane closed there for some construction. And westbound on the QAW as you head through Winston Churchill. Crews are working in the left lane.
Trillium?
Ontario Subaru
See the Canada flag Trillium see-through logo?
Ready to help with your essential automotive needs.
We are serious about our fucking symbolism, man. We are serious about our symbolism, man.
Here's Jill Taylor. Well, it's another cold day for us. A good day to stay
This poor bastard cannot get this replaced right now.
As we work through the afternoon, the
cops don't handle shit like this at all.
-3 for the
You can report your ID missing in case somebody uses it, right? But
early tomorrow for today. The
what's the use of that?
4. Partly cloudy sky in downtown Toronto. It's 2 degrees. At Pearson Airport, it's cloudy and 3. 680 news time, 12:03.
I think it's 52, right?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced an expansion of the federal emergency benefit as the Bank of Canada issues a dire warning.
I don't know everybody's real name right. I might know the fucking guy. He might be my best buddy. I don't know who the fuck this is.
McSweeney joins us with more.
Moments ago,
I'll give
in
it to
a
the
daily
security guy.
update
She
to
knows
Canadians,
everybody.
the Prime Minister announced the federal government is working with the provinces to bring salary top-ups to essential workers across Canada. That would include staff at long-term care facilities who make under $2,500 a month. Around half of the deaths in Canada at the moment have occurred because of outbreaks at long-term care facilities. The Prime Minister also announcing an expansion to the Canada Emergency Response Benefit,
to include people making up to $1,000 a month.
You know what I want? I want you 20 years ago to have given these old people enough money to retire in nice little bungalows or something, little gated communities. Where all these fucking yuppies live right now.
Rent for small businesses and for students who are out of work. This all comes as the Bank of Canada announces it's keeping its key interest rate steady at 0.25%. The central bank says the downturn tied to COVID-19 will be the worst on record and could potentially cause permanent damage to the economy if restrictions are not slowly lifted starting this summer.
Where did they get my middle initial from?
And as you heard from the Prime Minister, help is on the way for more people who are out of work as the economy continues to suffer. Now, one city councillor here is asking for more help for small businesses. 6 Cities Woman Koreshi joins us live with the latest moment.
It's like an extra trillion checks, what that is.
Fletcher, she represents Toronto Danforth. She says tomorrow is a stressful day for small business owners.
It's the day that landlords can take back the property.
Hey, you like chopping out front of your local coffee shop, convenience store, whatever? Tomorrow, go stand out front and let the landlord know. He ain't kicking nobody out. You can wait till this virus thing though, and then kick people out, brethren. What you gonna do? Kick them out to the street and move in another virus? What are you, stupid? Well, man, you ain't gonna collect no money. You gonna get in a fight with us?
One of the owners
I don't have to stab you, bro. I'll cough on you. Oh, you think your kid's gonna inherit the building? I can do horrible things to them, but I don't have to. The government takes half of what you inherit, bro. If you didn't already give it to your kids, the government's going to. They're going to take half first. Well, how do you cut a building in half? You ain't going to own that building. And the government going to sell it to the highest bidder. That's going to be us, because it's our neighborhood. And we got the cash, and nobody else wants to fucking step on our
toes. We are calling on the province to do a couple of things, including give small business owners the same protection that the residential ones are, where they can't be evicted during this pandemic, and asking for some sort of rent-type bailout. We will be hearing from the Premier in about an hour's time and see if he addresses this issue, among others. Reporting live, I'm Wilman Qureshi.
More details on Ontario's plan to fight COVID-19 in long-term care homes where hundreds have become sick and dozens have died. 680's Irene Precklett joins us live with more on that. Irene?
Sarah, Premier Doug Ford says the front lines of the battle against the virus have shifted to seniors' homes, with about 100 outbreaks at such facilities across the province. Ford says Ontario will provide more details on the plan, which will include more testing of residents as well as staff. Meanwhile, Ontario is reporting 494 new COVID-19 cases today, including 51 more deaths. That's the second day in a row we've reached a new record high. That brings the total cases in the province to 8,447, including 385 deaths. However, 3,900 people are now better. There were just over 6,000 tests completed, despite a province from the government to do 1,000 tests a day by today. Reporting live, Irene Precklett, 680 News.
680 News Time, 12:07. One of Ontario's fiscal watchdogs says it will give an initial indication tomorrow of how COVID-19 has affected the economy. The Financial Accountability Office is set to release a report on Ontario's labor market results from last month. The report will be posted online at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Metrolink says it has contacted police after a passenger allegedly spat on a GO train engineer last night. It happened on the Barrie line at Allendale. Spokesperson Anne-Marie Aikens tells us since the coronavirus pandemic began, workers have experienced more vandalism and crime.
This is a difficult time for everyone, but this is a pandemic, and spitting at one of our staff is just completely unacceptable, and was a really unfortunate experience.
When we say we spit, we're talking about bullets from guns, dog.
Transit ridership was down 90%.
Oh, did you know you can get lupus and things off a bullet?
33,000.
We don't touch bullets with bare hands, eh? We clean them things, eh? Oh, bullets stay on the ground. Fuck forensics in my hood. You can find me by the entrance. Because there's nothing on the bullet. There's nothing. There's no fingerprint. There's no residue. This is what the fucking lab with that shit. Spitting on fucking... What the fuck is wrong with you, dog? You know how to drive a train? Because if you can't take his job, you shouldn't be threatening his life.
just over 5,000 Ontario households back on April 11th and 12th.
A new report finds top Chinese officials downplayed the country's coronavirus infection in mid-January, even as they determined they were likely facing a pandemic. Internal documents obtained by the Associated Press show that it
have to go to the beer store. That's all right.
That jolt Beijing into publicly recognizing the possible
We went over
pandemic
1,004 aluminum cans
It was
since the
nearly a
17th
week
or
before
whatever.
officials warned the public. In that week, tens of thousands attended a mass banquet and millions traveled through Wuhan at the center of the outbreak. The global count of confirmed coronavirus cases has now surpassed 2 million in China.
Coming up, we'll check the price of gas as well as city streets.
City News Time, 12:09.
Our world has changed. We're in this together. 680 News.
In times like these, shouldn't your money work even harder for you? We think so. That's why at Duca Credit Union, you get no-fee checking accounts. You also get high interest on deposits and investments, and low mortgage rates. Plus, you get to share in the profits. That's the Duca difference. And now we're offering 2.5% interest on your savings until March 31st, 2021. Find out how at earnmore.duca.com. Do more, be more, achieve more with Duca Credit Union. Conditions apply.
City streets, eastbound Bloor, east of Dufferin, the right lane is blocked for hydro work, and northbound Dufferin, north of Davenport, the right lane closed there for water main repairs. Time now for the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price will rise 2 cents at midnight to 80.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations.
680 News Time, 12:10.
David Jones here from Hire the Gardener. COVID-19 has brought a lot of change. I hope you're coping well. Many have asked me if we're still open. Absolutely. The grass will still grow, weeds will still need picking, and the gardener is still 100% committed to maintaining and beautifying the
Sure, across Toronto, it looks pretty calm and quiet, though, the weather.
Perfect, the man says. Perfect. We keep it perfect out here.
Closed. It's for long-term construction, and we have a temporary closure of a ramp on the westbound 407. Southbound Bronte ramp to the westbound 407.
I still didn't like my fucking joint, man. You tell me I'm having an alright day. Hey, I'm not coughing.
This afternoon.
Coughing nails. I'm coughing. I haven't coughed all morning.
It looks pretty good across the city. Southbound on the 404 at Stouffville Road.
That's a smoker's
the right lane closed there for some construction. Southbound on the 427.
It will produce droplets,
but
I don't think that's technically a symptom.
Crews there are working in the right lane, and a bit of construction on the
Might
eastbound
be
side
count
of the
down for
QEW
today.
east of
If I don't cough again, we're gonna go to the 30th. We'll count it as 15
Ontario
days.
Subaru
And then we'll,
dealerships are standing
what am I
by
supposed to
and
do
ready
after
to
that?
help with your essential automotive
These people don't
needs.
even know when you
Keep
stop
taking
being
care of each
contagious. They're
other,
doing the
and Subaru
antibody
will take
studies
care of
now.
you. And now with the forecast, here's Jill
So in
Taylor.
my mind, I'm like, oh, I should just isolate forever. But in reality, that's not real.
Flurries again for some. Wind out of the west today, and the guaranteed high only 4 degrees. Will clear out tonight, drop to -3. It'll feel like -8, and partly cloudy, windy tomorrow. The high 5. For today, the guaranteed high only 4.
And right now in downtown Toronto, it's partly cloudy and 2 degrees. At Pearson Airport, a mostly cloudy sky and 3. 680 News Time, 12:13.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute live in the business.
I don't know how to fucking Vincenzo signed this check.
We've still got losses.
Within 5 minutes, it was signed. I didn't see him here. He don't live here.
Right now, the S&P is the big loser on a percentage basis, down by 2.
It's all good,
Excuse me,
Vincenzo.
now it's the
I love
Dow,
old
it's up by
people.
2.7%,
And Italian
down
food. You see me eat the
653.
pizza,
The
eh?
S&P lower by 76 points. The NASDAQ down by 171.
But I'm a different type of criminal. It's got to be Detroit style.
13,933. Gold is down $31, 1737. We've also got oil off by 57 cents, 1954. That is close to an 8-year low. And so that is putting pressure on the Canadian dollar, which right now is down a full cent, plus a fifth of a cent, 70.85 cents US. We did hear from the Bank of Canada today, no change in interest rates, and the bank also stepping up its bond purchases, both corporate and provincial, in order to sort of provide a bit of a lift to the Canadian economy, with most businesses shut down during the COVID-19 pandemic. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
In times like these, we could all use advice, especially when it comes to investing. Advice matters now more than ever. Speak to a financial advisor and learn more
advice, because I don't need it.
/advice.
Buy early and win big in the Princess Margaret's Home Lottery. Don't miss our world-famous $1.5 million early bird prize. A stunning Kawartha lakefront cottage built by Linwood, plus 30,000.
I need the eye recognition. If I look here, the computer should do this. If I look here.
Prize. Cottages, condos, cars, and more. It really is one big prize after another. Buy now at PrincessMargaretLotto.com. Talk about a perfect pairing.
What's going on?
Craft beer and sensory expert Mirella Amato.
And Frequency Podcast Network presents Hot Plate, your post.
Food culture critics and hosts of Hot Plate will aim to help you build a stimulating relationship with your
Hey. And we don't play, motherfucker. It's like, that's it.
The one thing about being skilled at rolling skinny joints, you get two. It's a one.
I'm getting pain in the brain. It's driving me insane from things that I did last night to train. It's what I'm saying.
I wish I could show you what's going on here.
I got no chain of swing. Broke this fucking look at the things. I'm working 9 to 5, and that's a fucking night. I'm losing my brain and thinking that I'm never gonna make it right.
Oh, notifications from 57 minutes ago. That's good. I'm not looking at that at all. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Getting drunk as fuck. I'm pumping the skunk. Even though I should, because this place just kept me minute up. Medicated, so this is why I wasn't that was spitting shit, and all you other cats can get smashed for half my written. It's amazing when I'm freestyling, just like sick. Even the quickest, I can punch you through all the thickest laser armor. I mean the laser armor, you clips will get bombed on, I'm sick, and I'm always dropping this shit. Simplistic kid who spits the ridiculous shit, and this is how they always talk, because they're so sick of his shit. I see shit like 60 times, because you cats are so sick of what I rhyme, and of the way that I rip. I rap and ramble, or rapper all over your heart. I mean, I'll rip you apart, and then expose all
It's open, because that happens all the fucking time, eh? With my eyes closed and my mouth open, eh? Oh shit, it's working. There we go.
We end up chopping on the block. I don't give a fuck if I'm wearing black or not. Stay gone, throwing up fingers, sipping on stars. We are like strangers, dug in my blood from the very first day. Certified. Cause the watch I got it too big to fit in us. On my hustle hard way before I came out the bus. I'm in the spot, even when it gets hot. Only when you see po-po, everything stops. And when the yo goes, then it's back on the shot. Kill the crap, I'ma keep my brother with plus. I'm a flash for your boss, so
I verbally mentioned I got a notification from someone going live. 5 minutes later, I'm on the video that I did not choose to look at. I've never watched a man's videos. Shout out to communication security establishment. You know what? We know.
homie stay bars, throwing up fingers, sipping on stars. We don't like strangers, thug in my blood from the very first day. Certified VA official, don't play. Go the other way, don't come around here. Catch you sleeping on me, leave holes in your bed. I walk in like a presidential. I got numbers like a Mexican crew. I'm next to win too. I've been up on my grizzly. They looking at me like, who the fuck is he really? I thought I done told them. I got more momentum than a roller rolling. I'm poking, I'm provoking. Knock me in the coffin. I'm dirty when I kill it. Like a low fishy on the skillet. I'ma cook it, I'ma chuck it, I'ma skin it. I'ma eat it, I'ma finish, I'm a rider. Till the day I die, cause I'm all such a conqueror. Extraterrestrial, motherfucking Martian. I'm just getting started. Why you sworn what you come around for? I'm off in the black head, a leg in the chopper. Hanging out the window with a bottle in my hand. I'm a stepping up a black rubber band. We in the hood shopping, ain't nothing changed. Folks that I roll with back. My homies stay bars, throwing up fingers, sipping on stars. We don't like strangers, thug in my blood from the very first day. Certified VA official, don't play. Go the other way, don't come around here. Get you sleeping on me, leave holes in your bed. We in the hood shopping, ain't nothing changed. Soldiers that I roll with, bang.
It's HB. Shorty got pneumonia. Shorty got pneumonia. It's high school, chilling in the freezers like the body. We teasers, we not show you the whole story. The freezers, death seekers. These are Reaper in the back of the Reaper. Park at the community center. No hockey games. Get off the ice. $2 budget, $1 budget. Get a wooden spoon, I'll beat your ass. No, I want the bankruptcy trustee's pen I use to cash checks. And the only thing I got from my G-Note plus GST People saying I'm the best on the highway, on the motorcycle, sickle cell, send me the hell, I'm gonna ring your bell, it's oh well, go tell, can't tell, I don't give a fuck if you understand, I'm living in hell. The black so they disappear, then I got all these empty packs laying around. Fuck. I'll be on the block. What's in my car? I had that below the soon, apparently. I took my time next to piece of shit. Okay, it was about time for me to make friends with rulers. Oh, he wrote the serial down when he changed the battery, dumbass. I got cocaine, marijuana, shit don't stop. I get your teeth knocked out, you're out on the block. I got the steel cock shout, if you ain't on top. And then the boys call me rich, man. Boys call me pretty boy, still on my hit, man. I ain't talking shit at you, listen to me right now. I am off the white way, keep on talking shit, and I'll be seeing good night. Stupid trick, can't stay, no good to stay. Super fly, bitch, look at my love. Hot up terror wearing things you never gonna rock. Sucker try to jack me, introduce him to the clock. Tell her hands suck my cock, tell her ladies
get with me, so I will dig above them. I like them all fucking oven coming back with the sick shit. You'll be staring at me, watch I have her on my dick. Quicker than you motherfuckers ever did. I'm hella sick, I'm high up in the sky. I'm like Mount Everest, you guys should get fucked. Get back from me, so sick with the accuracy. Step the fuck away, don't do average shit, ain't no matching me. Ain't no fucking way to fight like me, man. So how you fucking fucking at me
like we, man.
Woman later, still a part of it. Fuck that shit, a part of it.
We fucking started it. And we showed them how to do it today into the future. 2020, 19, gonna shoot you now. COVID-19, gonna run right through you like a diarrhea. All around your whole blood. Bloody shit looking like slime all over the walls in the alleyways. Nowhere to piss. How the fuck are you gonna earn some pay? Oh, that fucking dropped right out on me. Good business report.
This is the least amount of problem we've encountered with one of a song so far.
Poor woman had a pigeon in the store today. There was a pigeon in the store. I was looking for you. I didn't come down first thing. I didn't think you have garbage right when you opened.
They don't want to catch me at my best, but at my worst. And that's
Nicholas
exactly
got
why
it.
I
It's
gotta
okay.
put them in the dirt. You should see his yodel.
He's nice up, but he's relatively a good person too.
Watch me fucking hit him first. Watch me put him in the hearse.
You dealt with the pigeon. Yeah, you can't have a pigeon flying around in a food establishment. It takes one shit, you gotta bleach everything. Remember, this shit came from bats? Remember Asian bird flu? Oh, goes to the dogs and the cats and back to the people. Oh, fuck, that's no good. No pigeons. Unless you're gonna cook them all the way through.
Drugs out the vial, on fire, almost freezing vials. Survival of the
I'm
fittest.
looking for you.
I'm a
I gave you my phone. I gave her my phone.
Trying to take on me and do a jogging man with it. What's a champion scene without some sadness up in it? I know
Because she could easily come to the building and find you. That would be easy. The trick is she shouldn't have to leave the thing and come around. You don't know the layout of this. No man's land.
Conscience roll caller, is it cast?
Get jacked in the front of this building, eh? There's a pair that you don't realize their shadows are so dark you don't realize their shadows.
Anyone that is my enemy. Listen, little bitch, this is not what I pretend to be. Send an army, send your troops, send them in with cameras.
Yes, Monsieur Trudeau. And what's his name? Jonathan Vance or something? I probably have that wrong.
Boy, after eradicate, I'm a fucking misfit with his fucking wrist slit. Hit you with my fist, bitch. Bring it red like Christmas. Death is on my wish list.
The headphones ain't tangled and it's lost. Punk ass AirPods, they ain't listening, it's their loss. No gas, strings attached, fucking weird flaws. Down Jones crash, how we share flaws. Give the empathy in my
Oh, yeah, I gotta save these little foil things for my buddy with the hashish. And I gotta set aside these cardboard backs for when I get back my other supply. Oh, yeah, everything on lockdown. You can't get nothing, but it says New York on the packs.
I can't call them off. I can't call it dog.
But not reveal no secret.
Stay lifted and twisted like a fucking polygon. If you feeling froggy, get knocked back to a polywall.
He's got a barcode. It's got to be legal, right? That's my theory on it. Ask a child. Is this illegal? No, it's a barcode. You can scan that at the store. They know how it works.
When I'm fucking angry, bitch, I'ma wipe out all your hope. I'ma smoke you.
Kids understand fucking all sorts of shit. Oh, yeah. Beer is legal, but don't drink it. Coffee's for adults. Don't smoke cigarettes. Marijuana make you go crazy. They don't have that shit bullshit.
Pain and fear you can't prevent. I'll make sure you feel suspense. Put you under the cement. Put you in the ground for talking down to a nihilist. Taking all these chemicals, I feel like I'm a scientist. Breaking my appliances. Anger was a scientist. That is what my style is, and evil is my stylist.
How you smoking Percy's and flip jacks on the lighter thief. If you like the green shit, go full circle like a reef. Ain't it scary? Nixon, Katy Perry, St. Jerry, Aviary, hello. Watch me blow, get him buried. Revolutionary up at Chickenberry.
Oh, the other thing I can't stand while I'm at it. Okay, I told you to stop gluing this in, and you did. I told you to stop gluing this in, and you did. Okay. Do something else for me, brethren. Turn the damn cigarettes the right way up.
How am I supposed to judge if everyone's a critic?
Why are the filters at the top? Why are the filters at the top? I gotta turn it upside down to pack it down. I gotta touch the filter to hand somebody a cigarette. That's dirty, bro. Do you think everybody's doing what I'm doing right now? No. Are you a spreader? I'm not a spreader, bro.
They say that money is power, well let me give you a blessing. Got so much anger inside, it's something constantly stressing. Head is floating with power, I can't find the source. Fundraising the serial killer who shows the remorse. A psychopathic mentality with the taste of brutality. Enterprising the taste of self-escaping reality. With the feelings to hide, I'm digging deep with emotion. Praying to God for forgiveness of the life of the chosen. There's no escaping the pressure of living life to the fullest. I've been through my own wars, never been touched by no bullets. I use the mic as my weapon, everyone runs for cover. So sadistic and twisted that saying up to my brother. Now you're tired and broken, leaving this place on the stretcher. Cause my lyrics took your face up like I was handling a lecture.
Face off.
Like I was handling a lecture. Tales of the good people, complete insanity, sharing up our whole stories. See all the casualties reaching deep inside your soul. Trying to get a blessed tale, show you good people, finish you in the right direction. Tales of the good people, complete insanity, sharing up our whole story. See all the casualties reaching deep inside your soul. Trying to get a blessed tale, show you good people, finish you in the right direction. I ought to be treated as a murderous innocent, never gonna go under siege, but we bees in an elevated state, taking over all your fake.
1,000. I live 1,000 times over. Like I'm walking in a field of 4-leaf clover. See a green. Do you understand? We remain unseen. Blowing toxic green to protect the scene in the air. We don't care. Blowing foot smoke every fucking where. Looking like a werewolf. Coming through like a pale wolf. Telling you I'm black, looking white. I don't give a fuck. Wanna have a fight in the middle of the night? It'll be alright with a blue light on the black team. I don't give a fuck. I'm through back with the active. Life will surprise you. I don't give a fuck. I do not like you. I will survive and outthrive you. Fire super fire master. Roll black master. Blast. Slave trader. Slave survivalist. I don't give a fuck if you understand the silence. Where's my clock? It's like a campfire story. The cat made up to get children creeping behind us. It's slowly they're running out of kitchen. I'm the nightmare of most. Stand the fever all levels. Don't check under your bed. Just run and hide under the covers. Make sure no parts exposed. I hear you breathing. The silence. I rip the flesh on your bones. Yeah, I'm a psychopath. Feeling the warmth all around me. Bet you wish it was good. You just fucking reality. Yeah, I'm covered in blood. From my head to my feet. As I slowly absorb it. Your soul is my mind. I beat. I was shattered and torn. Away from no innocence. Put it up to the speakers. This is a substance of life. Like you was the Crypt keeper. Do the same thing every day, same way. I don't give a fuck about either way or not. You need to get fucking shot. You need to get fucking caught. Get out of my fucking block. Get out of my fucking cot. This is my fucking spot.
At least across the city. Wasn't too long ago, I had a call from a traffic spotter on the
Pause it in the
401
last
east of
8 or
Oshawa,
16 seconds.
and reporting some pretty heavy snow squalls passing through, some reduced visibility in that area. Make sure that you have your lighting system on and be prepared for those changing weather conditions. On the 404, a bit of construction in both directions. Northbound 404 and 407, the right lane is closed at the nose crews are working in the right lane. And on the southbound side of the 404, Stone Road, right lane closed there. Getting around on the city streets in Brampton, traffic spotted for holding a collision northbound on Airport Road approaching the 407. Only the right lane is getting through, so traffic is heavy in that direction. And in the east end of the city, the highway is closed in both directions north of the airport. It's shut down between Balfour and Seattle. And that's on the emergency gas repairs.
Emergency gas repairs.
And now the forecast, here's Joe Taylor. The cold start to continues. It's a rise again through the afternoon. Our guaranteed high just 4 degrees. The wind out of the west tonight. Windy and clear, and -3 for the low. It'll feel like -8 overnight. For today, the guaranteed high 4.
Put it back in.
It's overcast. That Pearson Airport continues to have has announced expanded eligibility for Canada Emergency Response Benefits. The Bank of Canada warns this pandemic has sparked the worst economic downturn on record. Today, one of the report on next week doing the report. More Canadians suffering through this pandemic will be getting federal help. The Prime Minister is announcing an expansion of qualifications for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, which means that benefit will now be
out of a job, people who see EI benefits dry up, and any part-time workers who are earning $1,000 or less per month. With outbreaks in long-term care facilities becoming a serious problem, Trudeau also says there's additional help for staff.
We'll work with the provinces and territories to boost wages for essential workers who are making under $2,500 a month, like those in our long-term
See what happens when a disaster strikes the world? 90% of the countries get fucked up. Canada, everything gets better. Oh, it's rough right now. Don't kid yourself. We earn what we get.
Talk about potentially reopening the economy soon, but the Prime Minister gives the sternest warning yet that the restrictions in place now need to stay in place for many weeks.
Because if we move too quickly to loosen all these controls, everything we're doing now might have been for nothing. We'll find ourselves in another peak just as bad as this one, or worse.
This, as the Bank of Canada warns, the economic downturn tied to COVID-19 will be the worst on record and could potentially cause permanent damage to the economy if restrictions are not slowly lifted starting this summer. The bank is keeping its
Fuck lifting the restrictions. Leave the restrictions on.
Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
New data shows Canadian home sales took a tumble in March compared to February.
If those restrictions are fucking your life up, you were doing something wrong, eh? Everybody I know that was set in their ways adapted as soon as they saw what happened. Like, oh shit, this is bigger than me.
February on a seasonally adjusted basis as the COVID-19 pandemic took hold. CREA says restrictions on physical distancing prompted both buyers and sellers to pull back. Now, compared to a year ago, home sales in March were up by 7.8%, though CREA noted that figure contrasted with a year-over-year gain of close to 30% in February. And the national average price for a home sold last month was still up by 12.5% compared to a year ago. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
680 News Time at 12:35. The Ontario government is set to unveil an enhanced plan to fight COVID-19 in the province's long-term care homes. And from dozens of deaths have been reported over the last week, and for the second day in a row, the death toll in the province also hits a new high. 680's Irene Franklin joins us live with the latest. Irene.
Cam Premier Doug Ford says the front lines of the battle.
Only thing working is the audio and video. I can't
about 100 outbreaks at such facilities across Ontario. Ford says the province will provide more detail on the plan, which will include more testing for residents and staff, as well as increased infection control. Details expected in less than 30 minutes. Ontario reporting.
You know I got the left-handed apartment, motherfuckers. You knew you were going to give me the left-handed apartment. Why didn't you give me the left-handed TV set?
And that brings the total number of cases in the province to 8,447, including 385 deaths. About 3,900 people have now recovered from the virus.
My cigarettes and my boys with their guns.
Tests completed in this latest tally, despite a promise from the provincial government, rather, to do 8,000 tests a day by today. Reporting live, Irene Franklin, 680 News.
How many did they do? Honestly, what difference does it make?
36. An investigation is underway after a GO Train engineer was apparently spat on. Metrolinx now sounding the alarm about a spike in crime and vandalism since the pandemic started. 680's Moma is following this story.
Do you think ghetto kids is riding the fucking GO Train? We're gonna sit on a train for an hour, 2 hours, sit there and do what?
Pulled into Allendale Station. The conductor walked through the train, finding a few people who had fallen asleep, letting them know. 2 left, but one realized he had missed his stop, got angry, and allegedly spit in the face of the conductor. Peter Leon,
I know it's a stupid story.
This type of behavior is unacceptable, especially during a pandemic.
We're taking this very, very seriously. Certainly, GO Transit is one of those essential services that is providing a great service to the community in light of everything that's going on. They're putting themselves at risk as well, and we certainly don't want to see their employees treated in this manner.
And Marie Aikens of Metrolinx tells me GO employees are working under difficult circumstances, and this type of behavior is unnecessary and revolting.
GO, Government of Ontario. OG. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Back when the OGs started this actual gang. That's when they named this shit. This goes way back. The family compact.
Doctors and scientists when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic. The York University study found economic considerations placed a distant third in terms of what should influence government decisions. 82% of Canadians believe scientific evidence should lead the way in making policy concerning the pandemic. Another 78% said advice from doctors should be strongly considered. The poll was completed between March 20th and April 12th.
Strongly considered. It's an interesting way to phrase the question.
Prevention is helping develop detailed plans for just how America would reopen.
A top CDC official says they would include separate steps for reopening schools, businesses, and other entities. President Trump's outlining a plan where states would test people at their borders. We're going to suggest that they check people. But while the president seems intent on moving ahead, Dr. Anthony Fauci told the AP yesterday the nation is nowhere near having that kind of testing capability, nor is able to take some other key steps vital to start reopening, like isolating new cases and tracking down their contacts. And we're not there yet, Son Irving in Washington.
Hey, you didn't legalize marijuana, and now your cops have no choice but to ignore marijuana. You should have had it your way, Burger King.
They remain ready to help you with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs. Thank you for understanding as they...
So the only control I have left is to turn the volume on the TV set up and down, and possibly to unplug this stuff. If I try unplugging it, you never know, it might like spark at me or something. You never spend all of your cash. Why not? I spend all my cash on reloading, recharging, and then fucking I get money almost immediately. I read everything. When I was little, people praised it. You get older, people start thinking you're fucking nosy or something. Words, I'm reading, you don't read? Brossard, Quebec. There's 1 degree of separation. These people dying in the hospital.
Stay with us, some bad bitches.
It's me walking up and down the road at 2 or 3 in the morning saying the ambulances drag people out. They don't bring them back.
Fuck with us, you went for a surprise. We ain't nothing like the mother guys. Fuck with us, you went for a surprise.
I gotta get a stamp. It's a signature or stamp. I got a stamp. I don't have any issue. What? I got a mark it. I need coffee. Leave me alone. I'm always right. Oh, we're gonna put that one on. We're using that one. I'm always right. Oh. I'm not here right now. On the same page. I need coffee. Leave me alone. I'm always right. Not enough bandwidth. I could put all 6 of those. What is it this time? Paradigm shift. We're gonna stamp the whole back of the check with all of these.
Taps into it. Like if we're not trying, every time someone plays, I notice my actions, everything is connected to the song. Yeah, it's weird.
What are you talking to me? Look at them prices and jeans. I got no time for a tease. Money is all that I breathe. I got my tricks in my sleeve. My bitch a bit of a freak. I just came out of the pool.
Oh, that's perfect.
Need to be speaking my truth. You never stepped in my shoes. I'm pulling up in a fuel. Niggas don't know what to do. I'm taking all of the loot. I got my feel from the vein. We can be sipping all day. I got the blood in my veins. I got more gold on my chain. Nigga, I'm going insane. I'm taking all of the hate.
Leave me alone.
I disappear like a ghost. I keep my ducks in a row. I keep that bitch on her toes. Whoa, when you step into my zone, give me a hit on my phone. I get it off for the low. Yo, pull up on your block, roll up easy, yo. Chillin' with the homies makes it easier. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night. Pull up on your block, roll up easy, yo. Chillin' with the homies makes it easier. I can sip on 40s, I can sip on this all night.
I'm always right. Leave me alone. And I didn't get it in the endorsement or the teller stamp area. So that's the part. And you can't do the bottom part where the numbers are. This part cannot have graphics or nothing. So he puts it on the back and might fuck that up when the computer's looking at it. Oh yeah, we changed our checks like 5 fucking times in Canada. It's like this, you take cash or email transfers from people you don't trust. Except in cases like this, I don't want these assholes to have my email address, so I'll take a check. I'll give them my bank account number. What are they gonna do with that? They're gonna steal my money? How? They would get caught, so they probably won't, right? You have to fucking consider who you're trusting in the real world, eh? Oh, I should have put it up here right next to the signature. I should have put it right here, right next to the signature. It's the perfect fucking size. Like my bankruptcy pen. I figure if I only use it for signing checks and things that make me money, when it runs out, it'll pay for itself. It says microprint. I've been thinking about this. Microprint is also other things. These little star-shaped things that put on money, they put on documents and things. They didn't publicly release it. We figured it out. That will tell photocopiers and things not to take a picture. If you use your phone to take a picture of this check, all this fine print is not supposed to show up. Which means the banks are now ignoring microprint. So why are we paying to put it on the checks? It costs money to put that on the checks because it's licensed. I might as well write on a lined sheet of paper my name, my address, and my bank account number, and who I want to pay. And that would be just as legal. Because the $5 fee for non-MICR recorded checks can't apply to a smartphone or your phone.
No one on these flames. Fucking Friday night. I ain't playing no games. I'm that West End chick that was raised in the lane. And yeah, you won't believe it.
I don't need a third joint, but I want one.
Get a hold of me. The free top Friday BT. Raise a bar for the scene. If the work ain't clean, don't come for me.
A bunch of 20 joints. A bunch of 20 joints. 20 joints. You got $2 coins in the US? No, give me 2 singles. That'd be worth $3 a day.
Yeah, you already know who it is. It's your boy, Playboy Bandito, rocking my man Tycho here, vintage phone.
If I take a photo of the check, I have to enter the amount manually. If I go to the machine, it won't let me enter the amount. It tells me what it says. I can't believe I got money out of the mafia. Who the fuck does that? They're gonna kill my ass. $62. They're gonna use an expensive bullet on my end. No, but they make money off me. It's not gonna hurt me to make money off me, like livestock. Dumb people get into fights with people they don't make money with, and the tolerance is a lot lower.
Playboy Bandito, bitches know my stilo. The ladies man with a Negro, big like you ain't eating no. Making bread, you need dough. If you can't trap, then you need a hoe. Wasting time getting drunk and high, I need to leave that weed alone. Ball up, weed alone. You can smell my weed alone. Trying to find a style like mine, is you gon' need a clone. My nigga, the streets is mine. I don't need a bone.
That's the other thing. All these motherfuckers try to start fights with me. I don't know if they're crazy or they have a beat. I don't see how they could have a beef with my doppelganger. But part of the reason I sort of I go overboard with the gangster street style of my clothes and shit is because I have a doppelganger and he's not in the street. If you put it side by side, you go, that's the same fucking guy wearing two different sets of clothes, and it's not. I'm wondering if people got a beef with him, but I don't see how they could, because he's not in the street, or I would have met the motherfucker years ago. We would have figured something out to solve this situation years ago. No, I'm not him, I'm the other guy. I'm the other one. We get two t-shirts, A and B or some shit. So I don't think it's that. I think these people are just psychopathic zombie junkies. You gotta eat. Oh, that's right, I gotta eat.
Man, I'm sick and tired of these lame assholes trying to get up in the game.
I like to eat with homeless people. I don't want to eat with rich people.
Put a real nigga in the Maserati. Matter of fact, just pay your rent. Stop running around popping mollies. Stop running around popping pictures. Instagram's getting rich and they ain't gonna take you with them. Why you wanna be a victim? You don't really need attention, you just wanna see permission. You ain't gonna beat resistance. It's only one way to win, and nigga gotta stay persistent. All I do is eat, flip, crack, fuck, hoes, get money. All I ever do is eat, flip, crack, fuck, hoes, get money. And the word around town, everybody been saying, I got money. You need money. Cause I throw money. And I blow money. This right here, old money. Not new money. This shit some blow money. This shit some old money.
Blow money. Yeah. One of those cigarette sticks. Get the sticks.
Yeah.
Won this game. You look on the map. There's bank machines up here that are closer. And they're a 45 fucking degree walk uphill. Fuck that. I'll take twice the distance and walk level. Need some hooligans coming through out there with some bullets. I'm trying to avoid certain peak hours, man. All these people that are still working that aren't sick, on their lunch break, right? So every time I go out with all these people, I gotta walk in the road. Well, they're all driving too. So. These people laughed at me for wearing a bright orange jumpsuit.
Rappers be tripping, shit used to be cold, now I'm cooking in the kitchen, right/sunny, listen, lane switching, steady dipping, I'm not here to play. I've been walking through hell, I'm not here to stay. You asking what I'm burning? Smoking Mumbai, and who are they? A bunch of haters with nothing so good to say. OC, MTL,
you're a bastard.
I'm bringing so much smoke, the streets catching all the fog. I ain't a crow, this my job. Fire behind the power, I'll devour like the mob. Everyone got a prop, keep it humble in the meantime. You'll see why I got a stink like I'm pulling up beehives. I've been chilling in the shadows, paying for battle, a kid to travel and then skedaddle. Go need the gavel, start giving me space. So if I get lucky with this money, then I'll be pulling that ace. Nigga, we some hooligans. Nigga, we some hooligans. That is for my haters, though. Yo, we got that greatest flow. Sipping on that medicine, you know that shit is medical.
These cocksuckers know $5 out of their $60 is gonna go in a broom to sweep the garbage up their fucking property. No, we solve these things ourselves down here, man. I'm gonna buy the broom off a Korean store owner that lives right above the store.
Oh my God, killing shit like my name is Zod. Superman flying high like I'm in the fucking clouds. Red and black, got my back rolling, push straight up at the pack.
You dump the garbage next to these places enough to me, they're piss me off.
pay the rent. Hit the pot, I'm smoking in these bitches, they so extra shit. If they keep fucking rich, I gotta hit the block.
Bring one of these sticks too. The rain washed so many rocks and things into the soil. I always wonder where all these rocks come from. I've seen it myself now. Not all at once instantly, but the next day you'll see a pile of rocks next to the sewer. The water washes them all the way to the grill, and then it can't push them up and over the grill, I guess. All these side streets leading up to the bank machine, they all got clogged up sewers. And it's just full of fucking people that aren't supposed to come outside. So I know they're not coming outside because they're not cleaning the sewer bills. Because they would normally. The city does most of it, and then the homeowners do the rest of it. But nobody's ever analyzed how much do the homeowners do. Oh, the city should do it. Yeah, but then they'll charge you more money in taxes. So who cares? They come out every so often and say, could you please sweep the leaves off the sewer grate? They don't say clean the whole gutter. They say clean the leaves off the sewer grate so you don't get a basement flood. These old people can't be dealing with a basement flood. And this sump pump backup generator going to dump the water out on the street to the storm sewer that's causing the backup problems. So, you thought ahead, but you tried to solve your problem with money. You now want your money, baby. Yeah, take it already if you want it.
Yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Both the fame and the cars and the jets. I had them thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live the life you would die for. Hell, I can't save her, I'm no lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. I'm a psych ward, dealing with that there. Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought? Are you dumb? I don't play shit. I shoot you when you brother with the same clip. All that bullshit you been talking boys ain't shit. I'm a different man now, leaving faces. Watch you said it, I'ma get that finish. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like
nasty sounds, dressed up like clowns.
See the pain in their
How
heart
the fuck
and
is
their
that
chest.
sound?
Watch you said it, I'ma get that finish. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it.
Trunk full of nasty
pounds. See the pain in their heart and their chest. Yo, versus spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell cases in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they give good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers want me dead, but I can never die. I'm the reason why your wife said she met a guy. 20 minutes in the bush just to get it right. Yeah, we are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues, I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay. Watch you said it, I'ma get that finish. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest. Watch you said it, I'ma get that finish. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it. Yeah, I bet. See the pain in their heart and their chest.
The angels is warned in the fools not to tread here, but we do not have any fear. You could end up dead nearby. I do not give a fuck. I will fly by, do a drive-by while I'm still high. I might still die. Oh, I can't skip the track. Let me try this. Maybe this will work. Apparently not. That bug still works.
Now is down by a full cent, 70.99 cents US. The TSX lower by
70.99 US. It's not bad. Here between 70 and 75 is not bad, really.
Company of Sobeys, up by about 3% to $30.24.
You don't want it too high, you don't want it too low.
The grocery chain is accelerating the launch of its home delivery service. It's known as Voila, and it is going to start tests in the Greater Toronto area later this month. The retailer also reporting today that same-store sales for the 4-week period starting March the 8th jumped by 37%. Gold is down $27, $17.41. We've got oil off 21 cents, $19.90. Now, the latest supply report in the U.S. did show a build last week of 19.2 million barrels. Stateside retail sales data showing a drop of almost 9% in March, an unprecedented decline. The Dow right now is down by 517, the S&P off by 65, and the NASDAQ lower by 129. So right now, the big loser in North America on a percentage basis is the S&P. It's off by 2.2%. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
The coronavirus pandemic has created a dramatic new world. It's a really weird time with lots of uncertainty. People are at home, self-isolating and social distancing, and we'll talk about it all on Frequency Podcast Network's The Big Story.
Premium.
Join me, Jordan Heath Rollins, every day to discover how Canadians like you are coping. You'll get advice and strategies, companionship and comfort, all right here on The Big Story. Listen and subscribe for free with your podcast player and at frequencypodcastnetwork.com. Find your frequency.
Attention homeowners. Savers Mortgage is offering deferred or prepaid payments on new first, second, and third mortgages based solely on sufficient home equity, despite income or credit to help in these difficult times. Apply in just 3 minutes at savers.ca. That's S-A-V like Victor, E-R-S.ca.
Count on Savers Mortgage, 493-1983. The problem solvers.
Apply anytime at savers.ca or call 416-493-1983. License 10587.
Taking a look at some regional weather conditions right now. In Oshawa, mostly cloudy sky. It's 0 there. Mississauga, some sun and cloud, up to 4 degrees.
I just found a setting I didn't realize. Yeah,
-2.
Fuck you. That's what's making everything
sky
happen.
and 3 degrees from Milton right now. In Ajax, some rain and +1. Right now in downtown Toronto, it's partly cloudy and 3 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 1 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Parrott.
Good afternoon. This is Wednesday, the 15th of April. In for Steve Roberts, I'm Cam Dorrit.
Good afternoon.
I would have even known, dude. I would have never noticed. Like the goldfish in the gerbil. Change that shit gradually, I never noticed.
For the federal emergency response benefit, as our central bank warns COVID-19 could cause the worst economic downturn on record.
Optimism from Canada's top
ever.
Cases were doubling every 3 days in March, but Theresa Tam says now it's taking 10 days.
Ontario will unveil an enhanced plan to fight COVID-19 in the province's long-term care homes today.
Small business owners are ringing the alarm, saying tomorrow is the day they can be evicted for not paying this month's rent, which many can't because of the pandemic. They're calling on the province to step in and help out in several ways.
Will those NHL teams on the bubble be granted new life? Bill Peters has been in Russia. Sports at 15.
We've got a sell-off on Bay and Wall Street. The Dow is down more than 500 points. The TSX off by more than 250. And our dollar drops by more than a cent with oil in the red. And after the latest Bank of Canada announcement, business at 26. This time, 101.
It's time for driving your weather together on One Kiss, Gary Francis.
This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Be careful if you're heading northbound on the 400 in towards the Barrie area. Just had a call from a traffic spotter reporting near zero visibility because of some snow squalls that are passing through that area. So anywhere in the Barrie area, south of it, around Innisfil as well, you're into those poor conditions. And also that same traffic spotter reporting in a medical...
And we're going to tune in now to the Premier Doug Ford speaking.
Care homes. We're mobilizing every available resource. We will stop at nothing to protect those who cannot protect themselves.
I was thinking I'm supposed to get going and get my shit done.
We're launching an all-out plan to fight COVID-19 in our long-term care homes. We will fortify the iron ring of protection around our long-term care residents and those who care for them. We'll go further in our testing, screening, surveillance, targeting the homes facing outbreaks. We will ensure the staff at these homes have the tools they need. That means strengthening protocols, training, and education on infection prevention and control. And it means ensuring priority distribution of personal protective equipment. We're getting PPE to long-term care homes in need within 24 hours or less. We'll put more boots on the ground. We're putting together COVID-19 SWAT teams drawn from our hospitals, home care, and public health care units to help homes manage outbreaks. And finally, we're focusing on prevention and preparing the long-term care homes with no outbreaks with a plan on what to do in the event of an outbreak. This plan builds on the work we've done to date. Emergency funding for hiring more staff, restricting non-essential visitors, 24/7 screening of staff and residents, and stepping up cleaning measures. And last night, we passed an emergency order to ensure every employee in long-term care homes can only work in one home, which will help protect residents and reduce the risk of potential exposure to the virus. We'll continue to use every tool. We will spare no expense to protect residents and staff and keep them safe and healthy. And to every worker in every long-term care home across this province, thank you. You're the heroes in this crisis. Whether it's cleaning or cooking, performing medical exams or giving medication, holding mom's hand, or setting up dad's iPad so we can talk to the kids, you're there. To call you an essential worker is an understatement. You are the caregivers and protectors of our most vulnerable. I want you to know this government has your back. Thank you for all that you do. Finally, before I finish, I want to give a special shout out to my friend Flavio Volpe. Flavio has gotten together with the folks at Mitchell Plastics. They're manufacturing 400,000 made in Ontario face shields for hardworking frontline staff at long-term care homes.
Plastic factory.
This is just another incredible
national rubber right over here
of the true Ontario spirit. Thank you so much, Flavio, and everyone at Mitchell Plastics.
When you wander around the hood, you see all the crack bags. You can't figure out where they're coming from. So that's
Thank
right
you.
there.
God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'd like to invite Minister Fullerton.
We are in extraordinary times. COVID-19 continues to spread, the likes of which we have never seen. And my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected by this virus in our long-term care homes. And I want a special mention of our personal support workers who are dedicated and compassionate day in, day out. I cannot thank them enough. And there are really no words that I can say to provide comfort, but please accept my sincerest condolences and know my heart goes out to everyone who's been affected by this virus. Thank you to all our caregivers that are working nonstop on the front lines to provide care to our loved ones. You are true heroes. Our government is steadfast in our commitment to fight this horrible virus with everything we've got. And as the Premier said, we will spare no expense to keep our most vulnerable residents safe. We have acted swiftly and decisively. Despite our efforts, this virus continues to spread and damage the lives of so many. Our government is working around the clock to identify every tool possible that we can use to stop the spread of this virus and keep people safe, especially residents in long-term care and their caregivers. Today, we are happy to launch Ontario's COVID-19 Action Plan for Long-Term Care Homes. And over the next 48 hours, we will be launching more aggressive testing, screening, and surveillance by screening all symptomatic staff and residents, as well as asymptomatic contacts of confirmed cases. We will be enhancing testing in all homes with a targeted plan for homes in outbreak.
4 months, you're finally going after asymptomatic.
Residents and staff in select homes across the province to help inform understanding of spread in long-term care homes. We will be managing outbreaks and spread of the disease through a new emergency order that was issued last night, limiting work sites for all workers in long-term care. We are working with public health units to assess risk for all homes, which is already underway as we speak. And we are actioning additional supports, including infection prevention and control, coming from the health sector, and we will establish rapid deployment teams through local hospitals to long-term care homes. We'll be growing our heroic long-term care workforce by deploying hospital and home care resources into homes when needed. And we are also utilizing Ontario's job matching portal, as well as the federal HR portal, to identify available resources for over 190 homes that have submitted requests for staff. Every option is on the table, and additional measures will be taken as we address this fast-changing outbreak. Our government is working collaboratively with Public Health Ontario to identify options to help older homes with better isolation measures. And this could include movement of patients to other facilities to improve isolation capacity. Again, we will continue fighting this virus with everything we've got, and we will continue fighting to keep you, your loved ones, and our healthcare heroes safe. Thank you.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. First question.
First question comes from Mike Crawley at CBC News. Please go ahead.
Premier, can you explain why the government stopped doing comprehensive inspections of long-term care homes in Ontario last year? And I'd ask you to make sure that you please talk about the comprehensive annual inspections, not inspections in response to complaints. But we've learned through CBC's investigation that all but a handful of the 600 and something long-term care homes did not receive a comprehensive annual inspection last year. What's your explanation for why this happened?
Well, it's better answered by one of my ministers here.
Thank you for the question. We moved to a risk-based inspection process, really to make sure that the homes that were at highest risk were getting the attention that they needed. We've also maintained inspections on a yearly basis for all homes. So the move was to a risk-based method, which we believed would help identify and support those homes in greatest need. Thank you.
Well, if I could follow up, is there any explanation as to why only 9 homes of the 630 homes actually deserve that full inspection? You didn't think that the risks existed at the other 620 homes? And can you tell people that there is no way that reduction in inspections contributed to what we're seeing in long-term care homes today?
Well, looking globally, the long-term care homes are on the front lines. All across the world, it is the long-term care homes that are being severely affected by this. So the approach, the risk-based approach for long-term care inspections was in addition to annual inspections that go on through all of the 626 long-term care homes. And in addition, there's an action line for anyone who's concerned about anything in the home that they find worrisome. So we act on all those, and we act swiftly. This is a global situation across the world in terms of the effect in long-term care homes.
Next question.
Next question comes from Christina Tenaglia from Cpt 24. Please go ahead.
Hi, Premier. Hi, Doctor and Minister. Premier, the announcement today, of course, doesn't include group homes like Participation House in Markham, where as of yesterday, 37 of the 42 residents there tested positive for COVID-19. We just learned that one of those residents has died. Of course, this is a home that houses some of our community's most vulnerable adults with physical and developmental disabilities. What is the government going to do for group homes, because they are excluded from this announcement today?
Yeah, that was a very, very good question. I've been on the phone constantly with Minister Smith and MPP Paul Coandra, and also I've talked to Mayor Scarpitti out in Markham. Those are one of the highest priorities. Our announcement today right now is about long-term care homes. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to put the resources into other areas and other ministries. We are. That's going to be one of the highest priorities. And over the next day or so, you'll hear the rollout from Minister Smith. But it's extremely important. My heart breaks for these people. Almost everyone in that home has contacted COVID, and it's heartbreaking. Going back to the frontline people there, I want to thank them. The people that stayed there, there was less than a handful, and I just want to thank them for staying at their post and trying to run the whole.
Say you can do the job, you're not going to do it.
In there right now.
Well, I can do the job, until it gets hard, and then I'm just going to leave. Did you leave? Did you leave to go get masks and shit, or get food, or shit? What did you leave for? You just didn't show up to work, man.
Evicting and taking back commercial property from any tenant who hasn't paid April rent. I know Minister Phillips is not there today, but we continue to hear from a lot of small business owners who feel
if you still own the property, chill out about the rent.
Any provincial initiative
they didn't get flooded or fucking shut down by public health, fucking relax. You'll eventually get money out of the government for this shit, you know you will.
Well, Minister Phillips,
what are you going to do? You rate on your taxes? Don't you think they're aware of the situation?
You have to realize there's 1.2 million leases just here in Ontario. And we need the support of the federal government if we're going to look at this. I encourage the landlords and the tenants when it comes to commercial leases, try to sit down, work it out. I know there's a small business loan, I believe it's $40,000 from the federal government that they can utilize as well to pay rent over the next couple of months until we get back on track here. But there's a little bit of money there from the federal government. But again, I know Minister Phillips has top of mind for him, and he's going to be working with the federal government to see how we can support the small businesses.
Next question.
Next question comes from Allison Jones at the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Hi, Premier. On your emergency order limiting staff to working at just one long-term care home, is that going to be just for the duration of the pandemic, or is this going to be a permanent thing?
I'll pass this over to the Minister of Long-Term Care.
Thank you. So that emergency order is for 14 days. We have been very cognizant and aware of the staffing shortages and the critical staffing issues in long-term care homes. And so weeks ago, the Chief Medical Officer of Health strongly recommended that all homes consider how they could potentially reduce the number of work sites that their employees are at. So this started weeks ago. This emergency order now is to really define this and make it definitive that it's only one long-term care home for employees. If they work at additional homes, they will be allowed to take a leave of absence. So this is a temporary measure.
Are you giving any consideration to making it permanent? This is obviously something that has been an issue for a long time, predating this pandemic.
Yes. And that's a really important point. When we became a dedicated ministry for long-term care, we knew that the shortages of personal support workers in our long-term care home was an issue, and we had begun to look into that and create measures that would address that. Unfortunately, the pandemic has arrived before that work was completed, but that will be ongoing.
Did I save COVID-19 in my phone already, or was it already programmed in your auto scroll? I don't remember programming around this phone. I haven't been using this phone that much.
Screening is being done for staff members and residents, as well as restricting access to visitors. Governor also saying an emergency order was passed last night that says employees can now only work at a single long-term care home. Will be the limit exposure between the buildings. Beverly Fullerton, Minister of Long-Term Care Home, says an action plan is being launched over the next 48 hours with more aggressive screening, enhanced testing, and hiring more staff members for over 190 homes. 680's Irene Brecklin will have the latest.
680 News Time, 117. Are you a condo landlord and your tenant has informed you they cannot make April rent or asked to negotiate a reduced rent? With the COVID-19 crisis, you can no longer evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. Register for our upcoming webinar at remaxwealth.com featuring Elaine Page, past Ontario Law Society Paralegal of the Year, to learn how to protect yourself as a landlord. Again, that is remaxwealth.com to register.
There are local heroes in our community saving lives every day. Doctors, nurses, and frontline workers, sacrificing their own well-being to take care of others in this desperate time. Without those heroic frontline workers, where would we be? The Monitoring Center Home Security would like to thank all the frontline workers, nurses, and doctors working tirelessly to keep our community safe. We are indebted to you. Your courage provides hope for better days ahead for all Canadians. Thank you. On behalf of the Monitoring Center Home Security.
680 News Time, 1:18. Ontario unveiled its new enhanced plan to fight COVID-19 in the province's long-term care homes this hour. 680's Irene Preckler joins us live with those details. Irene.
And Cam, Premier Doug Ford saying we owe it to the most vulnerable to fight this terrible virus to the end. The Premier saying they are throwing everything they have to fight COVID-19 in long-term care homes.
We'll go further in our testing, screening, surveillance, targeting the homes facing outbreaks. We will ensure the staff at these homes have the tools they need. That means strengthening protocols, training, and education on infection prevention and control.
And the Premier says PPE is getting to long-term care homes within 24 hours or less. Also, the creation of SWAT teams to help homes manage outbreaks. Provincial officials say over 190 long-term care homes have submitted requests for extra staff. Reporting live, Irene
Why are they psychos like me? You want me to test the soda against mustard, gas, COVID, and everything else? That's
more
right.
help. City's Moment Gretchen joins us live now with that story moment. And we'll check back with Moment in just a moment. Metrolink says it has contacted police after a passenger allegedly spat on a GO train engineer last night. It happened on the Barrie line at Allendale. The agency says since the coronavirus pandemic began, workers have experienced more vandalism and crime, and transit safety officers have been busier than ever. Metrolink says GO Transit ridership is down 90% from about 300,000 people a day to 33,000. And we're going to check back in with Moment Correction right now on the state of small businesses. Moment.
Yeah, that's right, guys. The small business community is one that is making a lot of issues right now. They're concerned about tomorrow because that's the day that they can be evicted for not paying April's rent. And of course, right now, a lot of businesses are not able to pay their rent for April because of this pandemic, because of the loss of business, because of being shut down. Philip Kosev
is evicted to get a new business in. Hey, who's going to pay the rent now?
He is a small business owner himself.
You know, a lot of our small businesses are terrified right now. There's little or no revenue coming in, and many of those small businesses struggled to pay April's rent. And we're hearing that even more of them are worried about being able to cover May's rent and beyond that.
So one thing COSAP is calling for is for the province to step up with some sort of rent bailout for small business owners and to make it not legal to evict them the same way that it's not legal right now to evict people who are renting privately for their residents. The Premier is speaking right now, and he did talk about it a little bit, saying that they are working on it, saying that there are methods that they can try to get around it, but it is something that is in process right now. Reporting live, I'm Moment Qureshi.
680 News Time, 1:21.
Now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Hello again, Carrie Prunskis.
Hello, this report is brought to you by TSC. If you're heading northbound on the 400, it's a little bit slow as you're approaching Innisfil Beach Road. We had a crash there for a little while. It's recently cleared away, but another concern in this area is the snow squalls that are passing through. So reduced visibility comes on very suddenly, and this is anywhere on the 400 from Innisfil all the way up through the Barrie area, and of course the other streets and roads that are in that area as well. So just a heads up on that, be prepared for those changing weather conditions. Westbound 401, we still have this construction from Kennedy to Warden in the collectors. They're working on widening those collector lanes. So it's a long-term project, and as a result, the southbound Kennedy ramp to the westbound 401, that's been
been shut down. Eastbound on the 401, just a little bit of construction as you're heading through Bayview in the Express. The left lane is closed. Southbound on the 427, the express ramp to the QEW is partially blocked for construction. Crews there are working in the right lane. The major routes, though, they're all lightly traveled right now as you make your way across the city. Promote healthy gut bacteria with VitaTree's Probiotics 90-day supply. Available at TSC. Get it today and save 30%. Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Sunshine will give way to increasing cloud and the possibility of some flurries again for some. Wind out of the west today and the guaranteed high only 4 degrees. Will clear out tonight, drop to -3. It'll feel like -8 and partly cloudy, windy tomorrow, the high 5. For today, the guaranteed high only 4.
And right now in downtown Toronto, we've got a mix of sun and cloud. We're at 3 degrees. At Pearson Airport, it's mostly cloudy at 3. 680 News Time, 1:23.
At Global Pet Foods, health and safety is the top priority. That's why we're taking extra precautions to keep customers, their pets, and our dedicated staff safe. Your pets are part of the family, so it's important that our proudly Canadian, locally owned stores are still open and fully stocked with pet foods, treats, toys, and more. For added safety, we've shifted to a curbside program for all our customers' needs. Find your local store today at globalpetfoods.com and call to place your order for pickup.
The Salvation Army thanks its frontline personnel and volunteers who are working tirelessly to provide essential services to the vulnerable during COVID-19. As this pandemic continues to impact our communities across the nation, the Salvation Army is adjusting its programs and services to bring help and hope to those who need it most. Join us and support our neighbors in need. To donate, visit salvationarmy.ca or call 1-800-SAL-ARMY.
This portion of the news brought to you by the Shopping Channel. Disgraced former NHL head coach Phil Peters has found his way back into hockey, but as Simon Bennett tells us, it's not in North America.
In late November, Bill Peters dominated the hockey headlines.
The Bill Peters story with Calgary continues after a story surfaced that he uttered racial remarks to a former player. Bill Peters is no longer a member of the Calgary Flames organization.
It wasn't just allegations of racial slurs either. Word from Carolina, a previous coaching staff alleged he kicked and punched players on the bench during a game. When he left Calgary in November, it seemed he wouldn't be seen in hockey again unless he's back in the KHL. The team in Yekaterinburg,
make sure the cameras start looking at us first.
A 2-year deal.
Hey.
The players there include Red Wings legend Pavel
Put that on
Datsyuk
replay,
and captain
motherfucker.
Nigel Dodd. The situation in Calgary was a wake-up call to the NHL. Teams now do much more homework before big hires. I'm Simon Bennett.
680 News Time, 125.
I'm here with Bill Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking Kubota. Not tractors, but skid steers and excavators.
Yes, sir. Kubota is known for their quality orange tractors, but we also offer Kubota construction equipment.
Tell me more, Bill.
Kubota skid steers and excavators are equipped with Kubota's powerful, easily accessible engines that deliver reliable performance, exceptional fuel efficiency, and less noise.
Hot diggity dog! You'll dig the amazing selection of Kubota construction equipment at Coy Brothers.
KOOYBROS.com.
Hey Toronto, this is Sergi Baka. You've probably been hearing a lot about staying home recently. But how can you stay home if you don't have one? Fred Victor is helping the homeless during these difficult times, and they need your support now more than ever. Until April 30, the Sergi Baka Foundation will match every donation up to $100,000. So help the homeless by donating today at fredvictor.org.
Every time you spend some cash, you get some cash back with the CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite Card. Every time, with no limit on how much you can earn. You'll even earn on your monthly subscriptions. And when it comes to those necessary purchases like gas and groceries, you get 4% cash back on eligible purchases. 4%. Plus, right now, your first year's annual fee is on us. Don't just spend, earn. The CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite Card. Conditions apply. Learn more at CIBC.com/cashback.
680 News Time, 126.
Round out the 680 News Business Report live from the Business Center. Chris McCusker.
Well, Cam, the Bank of Canada broadening the type of assets it's purchasing in a bid to support the economy, which could be headed for a deeper recession than expected. Interest rates remain unchanged, still at 1/4 point. And Bank of Canada Governor Stephen Poloz also says he is optimistic the best case scenario laid out by the bank
will come through. The Canadian dollar right now is down by a full cent, 71.03 cents US. StatsCan also says early data shows a drop in economic activity of 9% in March. The TSX right now down by 240, 14,018. The Dow is lower by 474. The S&P down 60 points and the NASDAQ lower by 122. Now, giving back the gains we saw yesterday, suggesting that, yes, volatility will be the name of the game, at least in the short term. Colin Szynski is Chief Market Strategist at SIA Wealth Management.
I think what you're going to see in the coming weeks is a battle, and I've done between the negative news we'll be seeing and have been seeing from economic data, from corporate data, and on the other hand, you have this support from the central banks and from governments.
Now, shares in Amazon hit a record again today after closing at an all-time high yesterday, 2,313.88. And we are also hearing today an Amazon warehouse worker in California has died of coronavirus, and also that the company is looking to shut down fulfillment centers in France until April the 20th, where there has been a spike in the number of cases. The price for gold right now down $27, $17.41. Oil now higher, up by 26 cents, $20.36. That's a gain of 1.1%. The Canadian crude index up 2% to 1363. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Stop the spread. COVID-19 can be deadly. Everyone must do their part to stop the spread of COVID-19. Ignoring self-isolation or physical distancing advice can have devastating effects and endanger the lives of your family, your friends, and your neighbors. So do your part. Don't risk becoming a spreader.
No.
Stay home and save lives. For information, visit ontario.ca/coronavirus. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
At BDO Debt Solutions, they know that life is full of unexpected events that can weaken your financial well-being. Many people who come to BDO for help had to go through tough times and take on debt in order to survive. If you're experiencing difficulty, a BDO licensed insolvency trustee can provide a free initial consultation and offer you services over the phone to explain all your debt relief options and help you find a solution that works for you and your family. Call 1-855-BDO-DEBT to book a free over-the-phone consultation.
Downtown right now, 3 degrees, overcast. It feels like -1. 680 News Time, 1:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve Roberts. Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, April 15th.
For Steve Roberts, I'm Cam Dora. Here's what's making news right now.
Province announces new measures to protect residents and workers at long-term care homes from COVID-19. It includes additional testing.
The Prime Minister announces an expansion to the federal emergency benefit so more workers can get financial assistance. It comes as Canada's top doctor says there are signs of optimism in this pandemic, but restrictions need to stay in place for many more weeks.
Canada's top doctor is expressing cautious optimism about the current health crisis.
The epidemic is slowing down.
But she's telling Canadians, don't get cocky.
A passenger allegedly spit on a GO train conductor last night after missing his stop.
It is totally unacceptable, especially given what we're dealing with.
Barrie police are investigating. Metrolinx calls it revolting.
Gary Bettman wants to be flexible in order to be fair, and Marco and Tulo have big games in Texas. Sports at 45.
We've got triple-digit losses.
$36.85 over the course of 8 years. Supposedly, I'm $36 behind on rent.
Again.
This check is for $62. So either they took their money or they didn't. But this check is more than that amount. So who owed who more money? Yeah, I keep records, motherfuckers, sometimes for certain things.
Through north of the city, affecting Innisfil and Barrie.
$11.36. $11.36. That was from last year, January and February. And this year, January, $14.13.
Westbound 401, southbound Kennedy ramp to the westbound 401, that remains closed
closed. It's all for construction. Eastbound on the 401, just a couple of construction spots at the 410 and the collectors. The right lane is closed. Then through Baby when the express crews are working in the left lane.
They don't want me to bring cash. They don't want cash. Way before this COVID thing, they said we don't want cash payments
anymore. And also that construction westbound on the QEW west of Winston Churchill again today. The left lane closed through that stretch. On city streets in the Danforth and Dawes area, Dawes is closed in both directions north of Danforth from Balfour to Seacorn, and that's for emergency gas repairs. Roto-Rooter is fully prepared to continue to serve you in this difficult time. To help with any of your drain, plumbing, or disinfection needs, contact them 24/7 online at rotorooter.com. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
The cold stretch continues. May get some flurries again through the afternoon. Our guaranteed high just 4 degrees. The wind out of the west tonight, windy and clear, and -3 for the low. It'll feel like -8 overnight. For today, the guaranteed high 4.
Right now downtown, the sun trying to get through, 3 degrees, overcast at Pearson Airport, similar conditions. 680 News Time 133.
The province has unveiled new measures to fight COVID-19 in long-term care homes where hundreds have become sick and dozens have died.
680's Irene Franklin joins us live with more. Irene.
And Cam Premier Doug Ford says among the changes, the province is now getting personal protective equipment to long-term care homes within 24 hours or less and creating specialized teams that will be sent to homes to manage outbreaks.
We'll go further in our testing, screening, surveillance, targeting the homes facing outbreaks. We will ensure the staff at these homes have the tools they need. That means strengthening protocols, training, and education on infection prevention and control.
Provincial officials say over 190 long-term care homes have submitted requests for extra staff, and 98 facilities are reporting COVID-19 outbreaks that have killed at least 145 people. Reporting live, Irene Franklin, 680 News. Participation House in Markham has seen its first COVID-19 Martin Franklin died yesterday. His family says he died peacefully while listening to the music he loved. The family statement describes him as a wonderful son, uncle, and the best brother anyone could ever ask for. The family is also thanking the staff at the Participation House for their exceptional care. The facility for adults with developmental and physical disabilities has been dealing with a fast-spreading COVID-19 outbreak as well as staffing shortages. As of yesterday, 37 of the 42 residents tested positive for the virus, as well as at least a dozen staff members. Premier Ford says support is on the way for group homes like Participation House, with a plan to be rolled out in the coming days.
680 News Time 135. The federal government is expanding eligibility for the emergency response benefit to help workers. And it comes on the same day the Bank of Canada says this pandemic may cause the worst economic downturn for our country. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney now with more.
The Prime Minister says in these tough times, the federal government is providing more financial aid to more workers.
Expanding the Canada Emergency Response Benefit to reach people who are earning some income, as well as for seasonal workers.
Yeah, you didn't think of that when you wrote that shit.
And for those who have run out of EI.
He's a drama teacher, not a math teacher.
In addition to this, the feds are trying to help essential workers who face the most stress in these times, such as staff at long-term care facilities. The feds will help provinces top up salaries for those who make under $2,500 a month. On the economic front, the Bank of Canada says the downturn tied to COVID-19 will be the worst on record and could potentially cause permanent damage to the economy if restrictions aren't slowly lifted starting this summer. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Well, sounds like the Bank of Canada will have a new governor in the next few months amid this pandemic. We get more from our business editor, Chris McCusker.
Yeah, they changed that guy
is the ninth and current governor of the Bank of Canada. Now, he signed on to a 7-year term in 2013, which expires on June 2nd. And he explained today the central bank is not one person.
So the bank functions as an organism or an ecosystem, or I don't know what's the best term. So please be assured that, it hasn't been me that's been calling all these shots. It's a team effort. It really is.
Hola says the process to replace him started in December, and it's about 90% complete. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
680 News Time 136. Canada's chief public health officer says there is cause for cautious optimism in the nation's battle against COVID-19. 680 Charlie Close tells us the country's top doctor says the infection growth rate is slowing down.
In late March, the number of cases doubled every 3 days, but more recently, it's taken about 10 days to double. And while Dr. Theresa Tam welcomes the slower growth rate, she says it doesn't mean we can ease up on physical distancing measures.
And we all wish this could be a sprint to the finish. It is not. This will be a marathon, and there are no rewards for quitting early. To use another analogy, coming down from this epidemic curve will be like making our way down a mountain in the darkness. We mustn't rush or let go of our safety measures. All the fall will be hard and unforgiving.
She says this is an emerging disease, so we have to closely monitor cases and growth trends to make sure we have the right public health measures in place to respond quickly. I'm Charlene Close. 680 News Time 137. Metrolinx has contacted police after a passenger allegedly spat on a GO train engineer last night. 680's Momin Qureshi joins us with more on what happened.
The last train of the night pulled into its final stop at Allendale Station shortly after 7 p.m. last night. The conductor of the train made his way through the cars, waking up a man who had fallen asleep. Peter Leon with Barrie police say that's when the man got angry because he had missed his stop and allegedly spit in the face of the conductor.
There's absolutely no excuse for this type of behavior. It will not be tolerated, and this individual will be held accountable for his actions.
Leon says they're investigating this as an assault, and Marie Aikens with Metrolinx tells me it's unacceptable behavior.
This was just totally unnecessary and really a revolting kind of thing that had to happen at any time, let alone during a pandemic.
Barrie police are urging the suspect to turn himself in. I'm Momin Qureshi.
A new poll finds 1/5 of households in Ontario report having someone with one or more symptoms of COVID-19. Just 2% of those polled have been tested, and among the very small group of households that report having been tested, 18% report a positive test. Key symptoms of the virus include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. The poll was done by Forum Research and Main Street Research, which questioned just over 5,000 Ontario households on April 11th and 12th.
Coming up in 30 seconds, we'll take a look at city streets and the price of gas.
680 News Time 139.
Hi, I'm Sherry Tabb, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute. Our eyes play such an important role in the spread and prevention of COVID-19. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Wash your hands often, and be vigilant about cleaning door handles and other surfaces that are touched frequently. If you wear contact lenses, consider wearing your glasses. Your health is what matters most to us. Google high definition vision and sign up for my blog so we can stay connected. Look after yourself. Promise me.
On city streets right now, northbound Kipling approaching Rathburn. Only one lane is getting through due to water main repairs. And northbound Markham Road at the 401, 2 right lanes are closed there for construction.
City Streets was brought to you by CapitalDirect.ca. Low rates save money for homeowners.
Now the 680 News gas price update, and Pro predicts the price is going to go up 2 cents at midnight to 80.9 cents a liter.
680 News Time 140.
Stop the spread. COVID-19 can be deadly. Everyone must act now. We must stop the spread to protect our families, our friends, our neighbors, and especially our most vulnerable. You may be unintentionally putting others at risk with your actions. Protect others. Stay home. Save lives. Do your part and act now. Visit ontario.ca/coronavirus for more information. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Got this quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also accepting boats, motorcycles, RVs, and truck donations.
On April 19th, the Today Showstopper at TSC will be the 9.7-inch Apple iPad with your choice of 32 or 128 gigs of memory, plus 3 years tech support. You'll work, play, learn, and create like never before with add-ons like a Bluetooth keyboard, stylus pen, earbuds, ring grip and stand, and more. Watch for this exclusive TSC bundle on April 19th when it's the Today Showstopper. Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice.
Time 141.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. This report is brought to you by CIBC. We have a new problem on the 401 eastbound. It's just before Meadowvale and the Express. The right lane is partially blocked with a collision, so watch out for this. Shift into the left-hand lanes ahead of this. That's, again, eastbound 401 as you're approaching Meadowvale in the Express. Westbound 401, just a ramp closure to keep in mind. Southbound Kennedy, the ramp to the westbound 401, that remains closed. It's a long-term construction project. No delays, though. The westbound 401 looks great. If you're traveling the southbound 404 through Stouffville Road, the right lane is closed there. That's all for construction. Westbound on the QEW, west of Winston Churchill, the left lane closed there for some road work, and construction crews are also working on the eastbound side of the QEW, just east of Dixie. The left lane is closed. On city streets in the Danforth and Dawes area, Dawes remains closed in both directions. North of Danforth, it's shut down between Balfour and Secord, and that's for emergency gas repairs. Need mortgage advice?
Secord, the fucking building that blew the fuck up because of a gas leak.
Together. Learn how
One of our fucking regulars paid his rent in the next fucking, like the next day. Well, like he just got off the street or something. He just moved. Like,
temperatures
he
well
was on
below
the
average.
street.
The guaranteed
Not
high
20
is
hours.
4 degrees. The average high 12.
Pays his rent.
Make it some
Well, the
flurries
building
through the
blows up.
afternoon, early evening. Then
Now he
we'll
doesn't have
clear.
any money.
-3 for the low. It'll feel like -8 early tomorrow.
Hold on, got a
Same
cat
for
out of the
tomorrow,
building
high
live
like
on
5
fucking
degrees.
TV.
For today, the guaranteed high.
Oh, clap that. It's great. It's great. You got the cat out.
Overcast.
Boom! The building falls on the fucking cat in the cage. Not even joking.
And now the
That's
Dynamic
Toronto,
Funds
right?
Market Minute,
Sick
live from the
place,
Business
eh?
Center. Here's Chris McCusker. Well, Sarah, we've got markets moving lower, and in the U.S., a little steeper there. The Dow right now is the big loser, down by 2.1%, off by 508 points. The S&P down 62, the NASDAQ lower by 125, and the TSX down 266, 13,992. Keep in mind, we saw decent gains yesterday, so most of those now being wiped out. Price for gold is lower by $26, $17.41.
Wipe out, shut down,
I don't even know
total
what to say
shutdown,
anymore.
Ontario,
Right now
lockdown,
it's
total
flat,
shutdown.
$20,
Turn on them
20 cents a
lights,
barrel.
black
Even
out,
after
black
the latest
out.
supply report in the U.S. did
Oh.
show a bigger than
Wrong
expected
type of
build.
war, eh?
Oil has spent much of the day in the
We
red.
need alcohol
after that
sanitizers and
OPEC
hydrogen
plus production
peroxides
cut
and
over the
bleach
weekend, which
and
seemingly
bandanas.
didn't do much to support prices. And then the Canadian dollar.
Oh, everybody's a blood in the crypt now. It's
71.03 cents U.S.
I feel like I'm walking through a fucking video game music video.
Unchanged today,
The old
but
lady's a
also
crip.
stepping up or
That man
expanding
there's
its
blood. What up?
purchases of bonds to the provinces and corporations. At the Business Center, I'm Chris
The
McCusker.
gangbangers walking around
Research
wearing
shows that
dust
investors
masks.
who work with an advisor accumulate 3.9 times more
All the
assets than those who
gangbangers staying
don't.
home, see, now
Advice
stupid.
matters now more than ever. Learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
How do I get back to the home
Hire the
page?
Gardener. COVID-19
Your
has brought a
fucking
lot of
JavaScript
change.
site
I hope you're
sucks.
coping well. Many have asked me if we're still
Okay,
open.
can I, is anything
Absolutely.
working on this
The
fucking
grass will
machine
still
here?
grow.
This
weeds
is why I
will
got
still need
multiple
picking,
devices.
and
That's
the
why I want
gardener
to
is still 100% committed to maintaining and beautifying the 24/7 view from your window. You don't have to come near us, but you can definitely wave to us. Talk to us at hirethegardener.com.
You can wave.
Take care of your home.
Say hi to the
and
nice
let's
man
all
with the
take
black
care of
garbage
each
bag
other.
and the orange
We all
jumpsuit.
love well-groomed lawns, but did you know they're harmful to pollinators? By naturalizing our grass-covered landscapes, we can help declining bee and butterfly population through cover. So invite life back into our yards. Make gardens beautiful and beneficial by adding native plants. Encourage your municipality to do the same. Mowing less and adding native vegetation to roadsides, power corridors, and other rights of way. Join the
Measures to help fight growing outbreaks of COVID-19 in Ontario's long-term care homes. It includes more testing for everyone, even asymptomatic people, and ensures staff have the tools they need, as well as strengthening protocols and training in those facilities. But still have some income. PM says people who are making up to $1,000 a month will now qualify for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit.
See, what's fucking wrong?
what I fucking want, huh? Yo, my blood type is straight killer nigga running his house. Kidnap a faggot ass nigga who be running his mouth. It's the 7th letter, LOC, and the 11th letter. My twin is on, we stay in your lane if you know it's better. Can't chase till I'm stuck on some hot shit. Shot fly past in your car, we shoot the glass at the cockpit. And run up on you, see you wall, and leave you stretched out on the concrete like you hugging the floor. I'm a thug nigga, hair still nappy, hands still baggy, and keep it sharp in case niggas try to get
all those clicks and bops when I stood up? Holy fuck.
I smoke too many cigarettes, nigga, I'd rather light him. Cause I ain't got the lungs for that sweaty shit. How I'm gonna slap down your bitch on some petty shit. Real talk, ain't with the back and forth shit. I let my steel tie. Fully loaded whip, battleship like it's Bismarck. Lock, you done did it again. Fuck a one shot. You know me, I'd rather hit you and your friends. Bought that stick talk, you gotta get it 2 times more. Nah, I'll rip the 6. This ain't 2 plus 4. I don't wanna fuck the war. Cause revenge be so sweet. On the streets with the street sweep against the so sweet. One thing is gold, motherfucker, make it stone. 30 on their hip, do the sweater, see the cold feet. Cops on your body in the bushes cause you're cold feet. You niggas already know who I am. Feeling like dudes, man, how I don't got past. We the type to just hop on the fan. Got enough in the clip to hit you and your man. Yeah. Wow, rap nigga. That's a rap nigga. That's what teach you, nigga. You know I say what I want, nigga. You gotta pop, come check me.
Come check me.
Come test me.
You're sitting up in the penthouse or something. Well, let's see if he cashes that check. Let's just see. No, this is all administrative bullshit. Oh, they keep giving me notices over and over that I owe them $18 or $36. How many fucking times you gotta fucking fax the fucking people that pay you, stupid? You wanted it set up that way. Yeah, I don't write the check that pays them because they said they preferred the government pay it. Fine, I don't care. As long as it gets paid. Only now. The actual act of writing the check is done by somebody that don't answer the phone. It's my fault. I'm on the hook.
You already know what it is. Right now I'm rocking out my nigga M1, aka Moolah, man. Boy got bars, man. Young nigga too, man. 17 years old. Getting it in, getting it real. He got bars, man. That's all I'm gonna say, man. You already know, man. If I co-sign this shit, I co-sign his bars, you know what I'm saying? So I can tell y'all, man, my nigga got bars, man. If you want to see if he a real nigga now, man, run up on him, man. He'll let you know you're YO the T dot, man. That's how we getting it down, man. Shout out to my nigga DJ Diggs, my nigga DJ Opie, man. Let's get him. DJ Opie.
I ain't lying, goat infection, bronchitis. I'm sick, I need medicine. Veteran, I'm too skilled for Benelin. Better than any Canadian citizen. I'm one, not the scripture on. Follow me, next to religion. It's a decision on 45 blue steel in the condition. Bigger guns to hit and run. This is fun. I'm on my G-tip, that's why I switch old folks when nice ladies take mad coke. Fix them up all the time, maybe they try to lose. You hear the voice, now paper back on the shit again. 5'5" nigga, a threat to any citizen. Across my pants, me and me without them Benjamins. Get your head popped, smell that chopper like a pendulum. From Doomstown to D-Block, from 5'5", all the way to the C-Walk. We hold it down, are we strapped up? Yes. Ain't no vest, just the 40 carry in the back.
A couple non-techs, sidearm, tray pound, lay down, the block full of niggas, all face down. You watch them break down, everybody climb on the music, saying for the seat, everybody line.
Hands on no firing. Till I hear a siren, shoot at anybody dying. That ain't good. Press, then I gotta pour. But that's how it goes. From hood to hood. From Doomstown to D-Block. From YO to T-Dot. From 5'5", all the way to the C-Y. Because it's Moolah first. From Doomstown to D-Block. From YO to T-Dot. From 5'5", all the way to the C-Y. Because it's Moolah first.
YO shooter with goons and T-Dot. PDS worldwide niggas and let that heat pop. Sleep not if I got a problem in these streets. It's hunting season and I'm coming for your beef, boy.
You must not know my self-esteem.
spray your top, then put it back in my jeans. As for me, who gave you the audacity? Thought that meant to track me, show you who run the back. All you niggas cool and we famous, while we move with them hammers. Grind a week straight, 2 outfits in my hamper. Baby mom bitching about bread in the pamper. Shit, I'm robbing everything, avoiding all the cameras. Kids in pajamas, rude boy with no manners. Scammer, jewelry displays getting shattered. Whoever moves, getting splattered. Getting shattered. Heaven, the hell you think we got the hammers? From Tombstone to D-Block, from YO to T-Dot, from 5-5, all the way to the CY. Because it's who the first. From Tombstone to D-Block, from YO to T-Dot, from 5-5, all the way to the CY. Because it's who the first. Move.
Hey, see those folks there? Man, it's easy on the mic with you now, man. Straight jihad. You know what we produce to that? Yo.
Oh, would the city pick that up and go Bronx? No, just sweet. I got him on private property, so they wouldn't even do that. So.
Nigga, what it is? Nigga, what it ain't? Talking all that shit, man, ain't even step in the paint. You niggas be trying to be what you niggas really ain't. We pull all that noise like we driving in the tank. Got a couple of years when they see you, they gon' prank. Kill them with the real steppers. When we spot you, we gon' snap you. They gon' get your ass wet. And I ain't talking about no saints. Got the AK-47. When I shoot her, I don't blink. When I don't really give a fuck. Even Tootie took me. Tell me I'm gon' bust. I just wanna fuck. I don't want the cup. Like what's up? Come with better chip before the shit get real. Got the shooters down the door with jump off you just like a pill. When I pull up at that nigga score, hop out like what's the deal? Nigga fuck with me, I'm gonna kill you like a bro. I don't really give a fuck, I just shoot him over the stick. And nigga fuck with me, I'm gonna spit him down and let him rip. Hey, I'm just riding around town. Shooting 100 rounds. I got them trees, yeah, you know I got a pound. We them Zoes, nigga, won't fuck around. Like what you saying, J? I got the chopper, best believe you gon' be laying, J. When I pull up, we gon' leave valley frames, J. Got them drinkers, got them choppers, yeah, we spraying shit. Yeah, and you know I got the Mac, niggas send fucking addy. We can shoot away you rap. That's so down the blow, down the bone in your cap. You be on the go, but when it's slow, we gon' tap. We gon' tap. And that's for sure, y'all. You gon' get smacked. You already know, y'all. She fuck with me, cause I'm a soldier. And I keep that 40 tuck like I'm a soldier. Let me straight soldiers in this shit, you feel me, man? Fuck y'all niggas out there, man. Think about some real shit, man. Hell no, fuck niggas, bro. Man, run up on a real soldier. I ain't tell me everything. I'm in the game, so you know I got it stick. Shoot you in your shit, my niggas down and let it rip. Run around Palm Beach with that bitch on my hip. The next nigga got an issue, they come down and take a trip. This ain't no game, no, this ain't no game. We be really clutching, yeah, we got them things. Nigga, you can't hang cause you fucking lame. And if I catch you slipping, we gon' shoot you in your fucking brain. We ain't aiming at nothing, but you don't. Like, nigga, leave me alone before I hop out with the chrome. Get all these hundreds, nigga, I don't need no loan. And if you rapping with no action, we gon' pull it to your home. Man, y'all ain't ready for this shit. You feel me, man? Shout out to everybody out here, Palm Beach, you feel me? Straight easy on this bitch.
$6,171.98 US Sherry Cooper is chief economist at the Economic Times.
Can't use history to predict the future, she said.
Certainly not in the last 100 years, and they didn't have the data back then. So the bank has no way of knowing whether it's 15 to 30 or 15 to 50%.
Now, StatsCan also out with early estimates for GDP in March, showing a drop of 9%. As well today, the price for oil got close to an 8-year low. Right now, it's up by 5 cents, $20.16. Gold is down $27, $17.41. The TSX is up by 260 points, 13,998. Now, in the U.S., retail sales data for March dropped by almost 9%. So that certainly set a tone today. The Dow right now is down by 511, the S&P off by 66, and the NASDAQ down by 124. You'll remember, just yesterday, we saw markets move higher. All of those gains now pretty much wiped out. Watching shares in Gilead Sciences, right now down 3.5% to $75.01 a share. Yesterday, we told you this biotechnology company was expressing optimism about a drug called remdesivir to treat coronavirus. Well, today we are hearing 2 trials in China have been suspended due to a lack of eligible patients, although the company is expected to release new data on this drug at the end of the month. What do you have to do to be eligible? I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Are you a condo landlord and your tenant has informed you they cannot make April rent or asked to negotiate a reduced rent? With the COVID-19 crisis, you can no longer evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. Register for our upcoming webinar at remaxwealth.com featuring Elaine Page, past Ontario Law Society Paralegal of the Year, to learn how to protect yourself as a landlord. Again, that is remaxwealth.com to register.
The economic impact of COVID-19 has drastically affected food banks across Canada. Many only have enough food for the next 2 weeks. When you donate to Food Banks Canada, every dollar can be stretched further to help our fellow Canadians, your neighbors who are in need. It's time to step up to the plate and donate. Please give what you can at foodbankscanada.ca.
Taking a look at some regional weather conditions in Richmond Hill. Some light rain, 1 degree. It's partly cloudy, 0 in Keswick. Brampton, some light rain. Snow for Orangeville, it's -2 there in Niagara Falls. An overcast sky and 4. Mostly sunny, 3 degrees in Hamilton. Downtown Toronto, it's partly cloudy and 3. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 2 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Parrott.
Good afternoon. This is Wednesday, the 15th of April. In for Steve Roberts, I'm Cam Torres.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
Premier Doug Ford says the province is now getting personal protective equipment to long-term care homes within 24 hours or less to help manage the COVID-19 outbreak.
Participation House in Markham reports its first COVID-19 death. All but 5 residents and a dozen staff have been infected at the group home.
Some small business owners say they're terrified of possibly being evicted by tomorrow for not being able to pay April's rent. They're calling on the province to step up with several measures to help them out.
More workers impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic will soon be eligible for the federal emergency response benefit. This as the Bank of Canada warns of the worst economic downturn our country has seen.
Dr. Anthony Fauci is promoting a summer of sports while top sport leaders will meet with Donald Trump today. Sports at 15.
The Bank of Canada steps up support for the economy while leaving interest rates unchanged. Our loonie drops by more than a cent
and markets sell off. Business at 26. City News Time 201.
Time for traffic and weather together on one. Here's Cpt Trippz.
This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Looking at MTO crews just pulling up to the scene here on the eastbound 401 approaching Meadowvale in the Express. It's the right lane that's partially blocked because of a collision. They may fully block this right lane here while they just get the last of the vehicles hooked up to the tows. And no delay to worry about, but just watch out for this eastbound on the 401 as you're approaching Meadowvale in the Express. It's on the right-hand side. Westbound on the 401 from Kennedy to Warden and the collectors. We have some lane realignment going on through there. They're in the process of widening those collector lanes. It's a long-term project. So in the meantime, the southbound Kennedy ramp to the westbound 401, that remains closed off. Southbound on the 404 at Stouffville Road, the right lane closed. That's all for some construction. A good drive on the Gardner into and out of the city. We still have that long-term stuff between York and the DVP, but it's not impeding traffic right now. Eastbound on the QEW, east of Dixie, the left lane is shut down for construction. And on the northbound 427 ramp to the westbound 401, crews are working in the left lane, so that ramp is essentially partially blocked. On city streets, Dawes is closed in both directions. North of Danforth is shut down between Balfour and Seacourt, and that's for emergency gas repairs. 407 ETR thanks you for continuing to follow social distancing rules. Together we can beat the COVID-19 virus. 407etr.com. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Well, it's another cold day for us. A good day to stay inside, bundle up. A chance of some flurries as we work through the afternoon. The west wind guaranteed high 4 degrees, -3 for the low will clear, and the wind chill near -8 early tomorrow. For today, the guaranteed high 4.
A mix of sun and cloud in downtown Toronto. It is 3 degrees. 680 News Time 203.
Long-term care homes have been hit by far the hardest hit in Ontario, and now the provincial government has a new plan to help our most vulnerable population.
680's Irene Precklett joins us live with the latest from Premier Doug Ford. Irene.
And Sarah Ford says the enhanced plan for long-term care homes deal with COVID-19 includes testing more residents as well as staff.
Emergency funding for hiring more staff, restricting non-essential visitors, 24/7 screening of staff and residents, and stepping up cleaning measures.
Ford says the province will get personal protective equipment to long-term care homes within 24 hours or less of a request. The province is also creating specialized teams that will be sent to homes to manage outbreaks. There are not a lot of specifics to this new plan. The Premier also saying when the pandemic is over, the long-term care system will need an overhaul. Reporting live, Irene Precklett, 680 News.
And it's unclear if the new plan applies to group homes. Now, Participation House in Markham has reported its first death related to COVID-19 this afternoon. 680's Mark Douglas joins us live with the latest. Mark. And we'll get back to Mark in just a moment. Help, meanwhile, is on the way for more people who are out of work as the economy continues to suffer. Now, one city councillor is asking for more help for small businesses. 680's Moma Qureshi has that.
Tomorrow is the day small business owners across the province are dreading because that's when they can be evicted if they didn't pay their April rent, which many have been unable to because of the pandemic. Philip Kosef is on the Broadview Danforth BIA and a small business owner.
You know, a lot of our small businesses are terrified right now. There's little or no revenue coming in, and many of those small businesses struggle to pay April's rent. And we're hearing that even more of them are worried about being able to cover May's rent and beyond that.
He's calling on the province to step up and prevent small business owners from being evicted and to provide a rental bailout. Premier Ford says the province is trying to partner with the federal government to figure it out.
You have to realize there's 1.2 million leases just here in Ontario. We need the support of the federal government if we're going to look at this.
Some small business owners say they understand many landlords are also feeling the financial effects of the pandemic. I'm Moma Qureshi.
And now let's head back to 680's Mark Douglas, who joins us live with more on Participation House in Markham, which has reported its first death related to COVID-19 this afternoon. Mark.
That's right, Sarah. One death now from the 37 residents at this home for developmentally challenged people who have become infected with COVID-19. A statement from the family of the man who died, Martin Frogley, says he passed peacefully around 9:30 this morning. quote, listening to the music he loved. He was a wonderful son, uncle, and the best brother anyone could ever ask for, unquote, unquote. While Premier Doug Ford acknowledges today the devastating presence of COVID-19 at Participation House.
Almost everyone in that home has contacted COVID, and it's heartbreaking.
And those people and their families are going to have to wait a day or so to hear any details about extra support for homes like that.
Those are one of the highest priorities. Our announcement today, right now, is about long-term care homes. That doesn't mean we aren't going to put the resources into other areas and other ministries. We are.
And the Premier thanks the few staff at the home whom he says stayed at their posts and kept working with the residents. Reporting live, I'm Mark Douglas.
The Prime Minister has announced expanded eligibility for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit as the Bank of Canada gives a dire economic warning for this pandemic. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney has that story.
More Canadians suffering through this pandemic will be getting financial help. The Prime Minister announcing an expansion to the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, which will now include seasonal workers, people whose EI benefits have dried up, the self-employed, and any part-time worker who's earning $1,000 or less per month. With outbreaks at long-term care facilities becoming a serious problem, Justin Trudeau says there will be additional help for staff.
To boost wages for essential workers who are making under $2,500 a month.
There's also been a lot of talk about potentially beginning to reopen the economy soon, but Justin Trudeau gives the sternest warning yet that the restrictions in place now need to stay in place for many weeks.
Because if we move too quickly to loosen all these controls, everything we're doing now might have been for nothing. We'll find ourselves in another peak just as bad as this one or worse.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Canada leaves the key interest rate unchanged at 0.25%, but warns the downturn from COVID-19 could be the worst on record, and there could be permanent damage to the economy if we don't slowly lift restrictions over the summer. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 News Time, 2:08. A former Justice Minister in the Chrétien and Martin government says China must be held accountable for covering up the early outbreak of COVID-19. We get more from 680's Mike Apple.
In an interview with the Globe and Mail, former Liberal Justice Minister Irwin Cotler said he expects there will be lawsuits to try to get reparations from China and says Canada has a part to play in holding Beijing accountable. Cotler blames the Chinese government for the scale and spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, telling the Globe he believes transmission of the novel coronavirus could have been dramatically reduced if China had acted earlier, alleging government authorities covered up and hid early news of the outbreak. Cotler says an investigation is also needed regarding the disappearances of doctors, such as the former director of the emergency department at the Central Hospital of Wuhan, who shared early concerns about the disease. Mike Apple, 680 News.
This news segment brought to you by BDO Debt Solutions. Coming up, we'll check gas prices as well as city streets.
680 News Time, 2:09. This
is 680 News.
BDO Debt Solutions understands that uncertain times can put a strain on your finances. If you're finding it difficult to cover your monthly expenses, keep up with minimum payments, and manage your debt load, a BDO licensed insolvency trustee will provide a free over-the-phone consultation, review your situation, explain your debt relief options, and help find a debt solution that works for you. BDO is committed to ensuring you get the debt help you need when you need it. Call 1-855-BDO-DEBT to book a free phone consultation.
Moving down the one-way both ways from Carlotta Jones for TTC track work and northbound Dufferin north of Davenport. The right lane is closed there for construction. Time now for the 680 News gas price update. Empro predicts the price will rise 2 cents at midnight to 80.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations.
680 News Time, 2:10.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shut down all non-essential businesses, schools, and most daycares. But many Unifor Local 414 members are still out there on the front lines. As a community, we will get through this together. During this very difficult time, let's help members and
get my money to get my coffee. I need coffee, and then go to the machine and then come back with coffee.
Clean hands, clear heads, and open hearts. And when possible, stay home. A message from Unifor Local 414, thanking all members who are out there still working at this.
Oh my God. Take stock of the situation. Oh, there's another joint. Tell you what, I'll save that till I come back. Oh, I just take this. fix the volume there. It's not enough. Yeah, I don't know how much ink is in this. When it runs out, I figure I've got my money back from these people. You know, we're only a 1/4 inch down, barely. What's that? Maybe 3 inches, 2.5 inches. I'll get my money back out of this. I could have took 2, I didn't. It's got a big R on it, that's why I like it. Oh, and you got to be careful with the new machines. When you put this in, if it folds over, it won't read the whole check until you just it. I don't remember which way it's supposed to go. I can just fold it. I don't want to fold it. I got a thing about folding checks. Oh, dear. So the Army's been called out twice. Buddy's birth certificate. Okay. So I don't know if anything here is going to work when I try to shut this off. I might just have to leave it running just forever until it crashes. The chat don't work. Nothing with the mic button worked. I hope it worked. Oh, I gotta fix the volume. Shit. That'll fuck me up later. I'll be like, why the fuck's there no sound?
Kids to believe when you're making moves, you're losing. We're winning. Ain't cut from the same cloth. Nigga, you're soft. Come blaze the clown. You can't come through the six. Shut out the
Richard Morales.
The
sex offender that got robbed by prostitutes.
Change my life forever. Started rap days at 8 was clever. Gonna start a blow up, a grow up. Nigga, what's up? Nigga, what's up? Yeah. Me. Yeah. Your hood don't give no love. My hood don't give no fuck. Your hood don't give no love. My hood don't give a fuck. We're ready for war. We're ready for war. We're ready for war. Nigga, what's up? We're ready for war. We're ready for war. We're ready for war. Nigga, what's up? Your hood don't give no love. My hood don't give a